Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship for 2015. Very good, I like that. Plenty of good #passion StarCraft fans here in the arena right now waiting for the final game of the day. But let's just recap if you've just joined us, because we've had 3 very different games of StarCraft 2 so far in our round of 16. Our final game of the day is coming up next, but let's take a look at the bracket so far. Earlier on, it was a bit of a surprise to us as Fantasy came through with a 3-0 win in the first game of the day, perhaps against the odds a little bit. And also in second game, TvZ going out of the tournament, this time 3-1 to Dark. And in our third game, Hydra had the high ground, a 2-0 lead, and it looked like for the third game in a row we were going to have the underdog go through. But Zest fights back and wins 3-2. Fantastic third match. I hope we can match that kind of passion in our final game of the day, because the final one, well, they say leave the best till last, right? And I think they have. Ladies and gentlemen, time to introduce you to our final 2 players of the day. Our first player has already played his opponent just a week ago in the GSL and fallen a game short. He'll be out for revenge in this matchup. He's also a former GSL champion and also a man who has played at BlizzCon. Please welcome INnoVation. His opponent recently switched to KT Rolster. He's also the reigning world champion of StarCraft 2, a GSL champion, the youngest ever Royal Roader, and an Intel Extreme Masters not once, but twice as a champion. He is gunning for the title here in Katowice. Please welcome Life. Plenty of fan support for Life in the audience, that's for sure. Let's find out where the loyalties lay on our desk. Here's Frodan and the boys again.
Thank you, Rodai. That's right. It's time for INnoVation versus Life, the matchup that everyone here is waiting for since the beginning of the day. The Zerg versus Terran that's been happening quite often, but none more recently than in GSL Round of 8, where INnoVation was able to get the better of Life. Now what's going to happen right now, or sorry, the other way around. So, well, what's going to happen right now, though, is INnoVation is up overall in the series record in the lifetime career, but we're kind of back and forth and split on the opinions. So let's first start discussion off here with Snoo. What do you think between INnoVation and Life here? Who do you want to talk about first?
I suppose we can talk about Life. He's been playing a lot of games recently, and especially CVTs have looked very convincing, if you ask me. He did lose a series to Dream, I believe. I'm not wrong here?
No, you're correct.
Yep.
It was close, though.
It was really close. I feel like every time I watch Life play CVT, it's always very close. Sometimes he is a little too aggressive and maybe drops some games where he perhaps should have closed things out. And sometimes if he's in a really bad spot, he can make some truly incredible comebacks.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's something that he's been known more by, right? More as a comeback type of player, that if you count him out, like if there's a guy that comes down from 0-3, it's Life.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kev?
Yeah, he has done that multiple times throughout his career. And, you know, Life is just so solid. And I like what Snoot says as well, that Life's games are often, he either barely wins or he barely loses. He just has a cool play style. It's not really often like, all right, this is my attack and I'm going to try to straight up win over here. It's always like small attack here, small attack there. And then eventually it gets close, right? Because did the small attacks do enough damage or not? So it creates for very interesting games. I definitely think this is the highlight of the day, though. Like, this is the matchup that truly stood out. Whether or not you have a Protoss heart like we do, this is the one, guys.
Yeah.
It's the one.
I feel like Dark versus TvZ. Dark's play is a little bit more straight up. Of course, watching Dark play is also super exciting. So much action in those games. But I feel like when Life plays, it's so much more chaotic. We see so many counterattacks, even with slow banelings right in front of the Terran player's base.
Right.
Like, these super crazy attacks that you don't see from any other player.
And he's also not afraid to go all-in / semi-all-in. Like, how often didn't we see that during his big runs at DreamHack, or DreamHack perhaps even, but I was more referring to BlizzCon against TvZ. Like, none of the games that he won were really like super drawn-out games. They were always like, TvZ, you left your base with 4 Hellions, surround Bailey costume. You know, the games were short, they were explosive. He's just really good in like picking up trends. If a certain player does the same thing 3 times in a row, he's immediately like, all right, I can actually capitalize on this because he keeps doing this. So if I do this, then I'm going to be able to punish him really hard for it and pretty much straight up win the game. And against MMA, that was less of the case, but he even did it a couple of times back then in the grand final.
Yeah, Life also a fantastic macro player as well. Even if sometimes I remember watching the game versus INnoVation on Deadwing, where he was in a pretty decent spot, I would say. You know, the typical 85 drones, you're never going to win this game type of Zerg economy. But even then, INnoVation was able to make some really convincing moves and was able to wear down Life. So I'm not sure if Life is going to show the dark levels of macro that we saw today. But I'm definitely looking forward to see if he can show, you know, both the aggressive Life and the macro king Life as well.
That's right.
I just like Life almost stylistically. I mean, having a Brood War background, which I have to mention every single time, but a lot of those Zergs are very swarmy, very fast, very micro-oriented. Like, you would look at their lings and be like, I can't do what he's doing with those lings. In StarCraft 2, I feel like a lot of Zergs, I don't want to say lost, but I guess like de-emphasize that. You don't see that quite as much, except with Life. You're always seeing ling run-bys, and he's known for it too. And every time I see it, I'm always like the other players got to get together and be like, dudes, the guy's gonna run by with lings. Let's stop it now. But he always finds a way. Life finds a way, and I like his style that
There
way.
it is.
Very swarmy.
There it is.
I'm hitting all the cliches, gross.
Yeah,
That's all I got.
for the longest time in Wings of Liberty, Zerg didn't have to be as aggressive as they have to now in Heart of the Swarm. You could just sit back and make infestors, Zerglings, Ultras. But in Heart of the Swarm, I feel like the counterattack style is one of the stronger styles to play. And Life is definitely one of the, probably the best and most consistent Zerg in CVT, truly setting the standard for how to play this matchup. You know, Dark played amazing today as well.
I want to hear your predictions too when it comes to not necessarily who's going to win, but out of the 4 or 5 potential games, like I can see this being a trio either way. How many of those games you think are going to be straight up long drawn out games, like the absolute slugfest?
Don't fall for that trap. He's trying to get you to pick.
Before him, that's right. We're going to go to Rotterdam.
Rotterdam. What's your prediction for the series?
No. Okay.
No,
You
okay,
want to
Before we do that, guys.
let the man answer. He knows what I mean. He's a nice guy.
I think, let's say it goes to 5 games. I think at least
Either
4
way.
of the 5 games are going to be really close.
Okay.
Every time
Okay.
Life plays against a high-level Terran, a Terran of the caliber of INnoVation.
We haven't actually talked much about INnoVation. We know Life, you know, the double, triple counter, and we know all these things about him as the reigning BlizzCon champion. But INnoVation is a player that, you know, you're talking about Dark as more straight up. Is there anybody more straight up than a guy like INnoVation who plays very much by the book? Everyone called him robotic for the longest time in terms of his execution. How are his chances coming in? Some people that we were talking to were pulling for him to maybe have the upset, so to speak.
I don't think they just call him robotic for his execution, if you know what I mean.
No, all right.
A little bit more going on there, but yeah, and he's the reigning GSL champion. This is something you're pointing out as they're kind of introducing the players. He had a stint with the non-Korean team Acer, went back to Korea because he kind of had said himself, like, I was losing motivation and I want to be amongst the best.
Yep.
And then immediately turns it around and gets the biggest result you possibly can, basically.
Sure.
He is one of the pinnacle Terrans. He was also one of those guys, too, where we were kind of talking about this earlier with Zest, where there was a chunk of time where he was absolutely the best player, probably all around, but certainly the best Terran. And it was like, hey, can he keep this going? Because if he does, he will be the guy we look at. And kind of like MVP was in Wings of Liberty, he'll be the player of the Heart of the Swarm era, or even around Wings of Liberty, he was still really good then there too. So he's on that level is the point I'm trying to build up to. Like he's not the late Kespa guy crossover that had all that hype, but he is one of those Terrans that found a way to play this game, and everyone was like, well, God, that guy's the best.
Yeah, I feel like INnoVation is truly underrated. He is so good, and in Pro League he had this really crazy 6-0 record. And
7 now, I think.
Yeah, maybe 7. Yeah, 7. And he also has, if you check the stats online, you can just see his win rate across every single matchup. It's just so good. I think it's something close to 67% win rate.
Yeah, and
which
this is not
overall.
Yeah, this is not foreign. This is not the home story cups that is winning.
In top level competition, 67%.
It's unreal.
In every matchup. So he's so consistent and so good with his practice. Really knows what to work on. And some might say that his play is a little bit static, but he plays the way he does for good reason, and he puts up some really good results.
There's only one player in the 16 here that we aren't surprised coming through the Korean qualifier, and that is INnoVation. You know, Dark and Patience, 2 players where you're not picking them to go through the Korean qualifiers, but INnoVation being one of those 3, absolutely one of them. Let's take a look at the maps as we have them prepared for this best of 5. Remember, both players get 1 veto out of the 7, and from there they just choose the order. Of course, the last map is just defaulted upon it. So Looks like we have him in. The first veto from Life was on Secret Spring, and then INnoVation has vetoed Expedition Lost, which means Inferno Pools will be in this best of 5. What do you think about them apples?
Quick correction for it's actually double Secret Springs. It's the name of the map.
Dual Secret Spring, you mean?
Dual Secret Springs. You can't just do one secret on that map.
Well, they couldn't fit it on the screen, so they had to shorthand it.
I didn't want to leave it.
Gotcha.
I think Inferno Pools, what I think that Life is like, well, the last time I played Inferno Pools, it probably wasn't on ladder or custom game, but it was game 7 of IEM Taipei. Went pretty well for me.
Sure.
The guy didn't know how to wall off. Let's hope INnoVation doesn't know how to wall off. Let's roll by a bunch of Zerglings and win the game.
It worked against Maru, so maybe it works against INnoVation.
We joke, but there is a science to that. There is maps where it's like, that map is so terrible that nobody plays it, and that is precisely why I'm going to perhaps pick it. I don't know that's what happened there. Maybe Life practices all these maps all the time and is completely happy with that map, but
could be.
That is something to think about. It's kind of funny that way.
And it would still be the only one, so it's still logic.
Yeah,
Sure, for sure. All right, guys. Well, it's time to get in our predictions. Rotterdam. Who are you picking?
Well, I'm on a little bit of a hot streak right now, so
a little bit.
it's going to be 3-2 INnoVation.
All right. Oh, INnoVation. All right.
Yes.
Okay. So he's picking off the Terran. What do you think in Control?
3-1 Life.
All right. So going with the favorite here. People were picking Life for the whole tournament, so he goes and Snoot.
Yeah, 3-2 Life.
3-2 Life. So a pretty tight series. I'm going to toss my lot in this one. I'm going to support Rotterdam in his efforts, saying I think INnoVation's going to take it. Once again, 3-2. I got to help him out,
The
man.
Hearthstone player. Agrees with you.
Well, you know what, Kevin, you're going to be able to, I have a feeling you're going to be able to pull this one through, but let's hear what our casters also have to say as we're going to finish out the day with Apollo and Claris.
Arguably two best players in the world at the moment are going to face off against each other in the round of 16. A headline that could have quite easily been the grand final, as we have Life, our Intel Extreme Masters Taipei champion, going up against INnoVation, who for the longest time was considered the best in the world.
Absolutely. These two players, a lot of people on the internet, a lot of people here, a lot of the casters and everyone are saying the winner of this has a shot at the trophy. It's that big. It's the round of 16 game, but these two matching up was really unfortunate for both of them. They are top tier. Life is arguably the best player in the world right now.
Yeah.
INnoVation is one of the, if not the best Terran. They're going head to head so early on. It's a huge match. It's the biggest match of the entire of the round of 16.
All right, well, let's get into it. It's going to be game number 1 between INnoVation and Life, no less. As we have, spawning up to the top right, it's our red Zerg. Representing KT Rolster, it is Life. And down to the bottom left-hand corner, our blue Terran. Representing SK Telecom T1, it is INnoVation.
Life in the last 6 months since BlizzCon has been on the hottest streak of victories that we've seen in a very, very long time, especially considering StarCraft is every single month, every single day is getting harder and harder to play and the competition's getting stronger and stronger. Life won BlizzCon. He got second at DreamHack Winter. He finished top 4 in Star League after being eliminated there. He's currently still in the GSL, top 4. He won the Intel Extreme Masters Taipei. He is the reigning Intel Extreme Masters champion. And here he is playing at the World Championship as one of the big favorites to take the entire of the tournament. There's no doubt he's one of the best in StarCraft.
No doubt, absolutely no doubt at the moment, and he continues to prove that time and time again. Will he prove it here against INnoVation? It's a tall order for him in the round of 16, but if anyone can do it, it's Life.
I think so. Whereas INnoVation on the other side of things, he hasn't won a tournament in a while. He did win the Season 3 of the GSL back in around September, I think it was last year. But in Pro League, he's been dominating. He's top 5 in the win record. He's got 7 wins and 1 loss. And like I said, the winner of this is going to go far in this tournament. The builds, by the way, it was 11 Barracks Reaper for INnoVation, so looking at 3 Reapers very early on. Whereas Life has gone for his Hatch Gas Pool, one of his favored builds.
And this Overlord initially will poke around at the front and see what it can find. Eventually it will spot the first Reaper moving out, and then Life will pretty much have a good idea of what he's going to be going up against. Actually, it might not even spot it as it comes out there with the trajectory that it's currently on.
With the very early gas that Life's taking, he's going to be able to get that Zergling speed and be able to push back the majority of early pressure that INnoVation's going to go for. And on top of that, can also plan counterattacks and run by, something he's very, very well known for.
First Reaper on the way. Second Overlord is going to position itself over on this left-hand side, maybe to dip into that main base, see what's going on. Also, it could be there to spot drops if they end up going out of that location. But those 6lings are on the way to buy time for the Queens to get out and then shoot this Reaper off.
Right, so ideally you don't want to be losing hardly any units, any drones, any Zerglings, in an ideal world.
And it's already going to start an extractor. Starting some buildings here to save those drones. Very good micro and good control by him so far. And those little Zerglings do pop. So the drone micro bought time for the Lings, which in turn are now buying time for the Queens, as we mentioned.
All right, so far so good. And second Reaper's almost here. One Zergling very low is not going to get targeted down.
And a second Reaper now joining this. Third one's on the way as well. And we'll just take down a Ling to start things with maybe a few more Lings dying off here, but nice focus fire with the Queen. Brings one of those Reapers down. Goes back very, very low, though. INnoVation controlling that well just to keep those alive and regen up.
All right, well, third Reaper is going to join in and see if he can get some more damage done. But Zergling speed about to be finished. And there's 4 additional Zerglings on the way. Where are the ones on the left going, though? Are they heading all the way down to the SCV line?
They may do.
I think they are.
Yeah, he sees that. He saw there was a command center on the natural, and those Lings will push this away. The Queens are going to have to be capable for a very, very strong defense here. He's already going for a drone, picks one off, so the Lings going for the counter attack come at the cost of maybe a drone or 2 going down at that point.
But on the other side of the map,
the Lings going for that counter, trying to do a little bit here and getting on top of some of the SCVs, so evening things up in turn. He did have speed finish, and the wall will hold him back for now.
Yeah, he's killed 2 SCVs in that attack. That was very nice.
So Reaper's going to have to go on home. He knows that speed's finished. He has to be very, very careful with these Reapers, and he tries to go for the surround on one of them. Oh, barely doesn't get that at the very end.
INnoVation has decided to go for a armory very early on, and is going to be looking to do some hellbat pressure towards Life, who has gone 2 base Spire and will be, or 2 base layer looking for that Spire. Will he have enough units to defend against the Hellions that are going to be coming out 2 by 2 and then transformed into Hellbats? With only Zerglings, it can be very difficult.
Yeah, definitely, especially if he's actually losing some of those in the middle of the map as well. He has to replenish those, and every unit he can get at the front is going to be very useful. He's getting a Spine Crawler as well, adding some extra gases on to get that income going. But at the moment, 4 gases with no sign of a Roach War, and this is not where he wants to be against those Hellions that could present an issue.
Yeah, Spine Crawler is going to help out a lot, but we did see another run by there by Life, getting a single SCV kill. But he still doesn't know about the transformation that we're about to see.
And that could hit pretty hard. He has a little bit of creep at the front. That Spine Crawler's about to finish up, but I don't think he really has that many Queens at the front. Just the 3 out in total across these 2 bases. Not even conjoining those bases with creep as well. So, and it's straight up to the Spire. I don't think he's getting the full read here.
The problem is that Life is almost finished drone production on 2 bases. So he's only going to be looking to save money for the 3rd hatchery and then produce units anyway. There's no need for additional drones. So the longer INnoVation waits, naturally, the more units Life is going to have.
Spire's on the way. He may end up saving a little bit of gas for that, but once he sees the issue that is coming along, he has to get some. He sees them.
He sees 4 more Hellions, and this is a big, big tell, obviously, now. And he's like, well, why do you have 8 Hellions charging at me?
Yeah, just got to sit on your base, 2 bases position here. Make sure that you're going to solidify that.
The Queens are really low from before too. They're both on half hit points.
And he's actually spreading some creep between those bases with an Overlord to try and get the Queen down if he needs it. But here come the Hellbats. They're going to kill off a lot of those Lings at the front, powering on forwards with this pressure. And that Spine Crawler, even to these, is going to fall very quickly. Transfuse goes down, but that's so much attack power we're seeing from these Hellbats.
And the main Queen from the hatchery #1 inside the main base isn't coming down to assist in this. It's only going to be the Zerglings that are going to come out streaming into the flames.
A few actually pop in the flames, and unfortunately they do die off very quick. He's actually maneuvered these Hellbats very, very well to kill off as much as he could there whilst he was streaming on forwards. He's got some gas available to him, but he is taking a little bit of damage. He took 9 worker kills from that.
And everything else that INnoVation gets is a bonus.
Oh, that could be a very big bonus if he actually gets a few more of these Life, trying to retreat back there. And these Hellbats will try and find another angle of attack, but they don't get that juicy pickup they wanted.
But they have done a lot of damage on a player with only 2 hatcheries, very little drones. Mutalisk about to pop. I think it should be okay, this Queen.
Run away.
But that's a lot of damage. A lot of Queens went down. A lot of drones have been eliminated. It's a good lead here for INnoVation, who has been on 3 command centers for a very long time. Double engineering bays forever. He's now working off 3 barracks, soon to be 5. Turrets are up. Perfect. He shouldn't take any damage to the Mutalisks.
Yeah, had a good window to prepare, that's for sure, after he spotted that Spire. Now it's 48 workers against 41 in favor of INnoVation, as Life now looks to try and find little cracks that he can do a bit of harassment, but it's not much. It's only a supply depot's worth of damage.
Stim is done. Mutalisks aren't going to find any angles. They've got no upgrades. Life should get almost 0 value from these Mutalisks, and this is excellent for INnoVation. He'll sit tight on 2 bases, wait for his medivacs to come out, wait for combat shields to come out, and then move across the map. And the problem's going to be, does Life have enough units? Does he have bailing speed? Does he have enough creep? These are problems that he's going to have to face against INnoVation, who's at a massive lead in this game.
And he looks pretty cool there going into this first game, as the Mutalisks are getting pinned in a very, very precarious spot. Marines trying to chase them down.
Well, they currently are pinned. They're stuck here. They go left, they get shot. They go right, they get shot.
Yeah, that's not the most comfortable of spots. He's going to try and trade against the Marines on the left-hand side. That was the smaller clump, so getting what he can, maybe trying to jump out that way, but manages to sneak out to the top, losing a Mutalisk or 2.
Right, combat shields is done and medivacs are out, and there's going to be a huge timing here where INnoVation has 1-1 against 0 Zergling upgrades. Life needs to buy himself time. Does he try counterattacks? Does he try to make the Mutalisks drag these units forwards? But if INnoVation attacks with everything he's got, Life will be in trouble.
Loses another Mutalisk for just a few Marines. He, as you said, though, he has to buy time. He tries to find himself a medevac and actually almost picks that up with the boost, being able to save it at the very, very end. But as you say, he's just trying to delay, and unfortunately for him, having to trade Mutalisks away for that, it's not the best.
There's no bailing speed, but there are 10 bailings on the way.
And could they connect? If they do, it might be a game changer here, depending on how well INnoVation actually splits. He already sees them with the scans. He sees that they don't have speed, and that's not the best of connections for those first couple at the front. There's so many Marines. There you go, GG. Life knows when he is down and out, and will give that one away. INnoVation with a very, very strong attack.
Yeah, he finishes that one off just with perfection. Dealt way too much damage with the Hellbats. Life didn't have a Roach Warren, didn't have a Bailing Nest, couldn't defend with Queens and Zerglings. INnoVation exploited one of Life's biggest weaknesses. Is he's a greedy Zerg player. He punished him and then just finished him right towards that end there where he had that attack and made that look easy.
The execution was on point there for INnoVation. Life really kind of just got caught a little bit, unfortunately for him. We are just having a moment here before we get into Catalina for our second map. And we shall be back after a small break with INnoVation versus Life, Game 2. Game number 2 now on the way between INnoVation and Life. As INnoVation executed game number 1 to perfection, didn't really take too many losses at all, was even able to save his first Reaper that got chased down at the very edge of his base, and now Life's got to book up his ideas. Because
yeah, he's got to tighten up his defense, otherwise, as you were about to say, this is going to be very one-sided. INnoVation is one of the best right now. Not many people can have a win record of 7 wins and 1 loss in the toughest team league in the world.
Yeah. Too true, too true. Let's get into it then. Game number 2 now on the way on Catalina between INnoVation and Life to find out who is going to be moving on to the round of 8. As we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner, of course, it is our red Zerg. Representing KT Rolster, it is Life. Down to the bottom right, it's our blue Terran, looking good in game number 1. Can he continue on to game 2, representing SK Telecom? It is INnoVation.
So Catalina here, a great map for INnoVation. Doesn't have the best spawns, but still they're okay for him to work with. And this is a pretty good map pool for INnoVation, especially starting off with Overgrowth with a win.
Yeah. And if Life is able to take one or two of these maps at the beginning, of course, Inferno Pools was his pick going into the 4th map, which we have seen cause Zergs a few problems. Admittedly, I would say it causes almost all races a few problems because you just don't it's a little bit of a shift in the meta to have to go into that map with those potential close spawns.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult map for sure. If, well, for people that think Life's going to win, we're definitely going there, so...
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Right. Well, he's going to open things up with Hatchery first against INnoVation. Not really too worried about the usual Reaper opening that is going to be thrown down on this map here.
And especially because INnoVation has used that quite a lot recently, he's really enjoyed going proxy Reapers with bunkers and killing off. I mean, he lost to INnoVation with this style on King Sejong Station last week, and it was an instant win for INnoVation. Life has decided to go 15-15, 15 hatchery, 15 spawning pool. It's possible to hold against these type of Reaper plays. It's very difficult, but possible. And with this match that we've seen currently, INnoVation has gone 11 barracks again. He's going to open up with the same 3 Reapers as before. So again, it's all about how much damage he can do very early on. And the more he does, the more he slows Life down.
Both players likely know where they are now, as that SCV did bump into that Overlord, and their locations are known. Sees the hatchery first, and those Reapers are going to be on the way pretty quickly. Again, you know, the ledges from the main base down into the low ground and then back into his opponent's main base again. It makes these bases very close for a Reaper.
Life, the reigning Intel Extreme Masters champion, our last tour stop in Taipei, is not going to be looking to be eliminated in the round of 16. He's also the world champion on top of that. Whereas INnoVation looking for the revenge from last week with his 3-2 loss in a very close series, which a lot of people thought INnoVation was going to win. The way that the series went down, and he's just picked off a drone there, which is excellent. It's a great start here for INnoVation. Top Zerg players don't lose drones easily.
No, not at all. He might get a few Zerglings here again. That's partially expected when you're going up against a really, really strong Terran who can make them dance, but even some of the best Zergs can just keep all of their Zerglings alive when it goes into that. But Life came into this saying that this is one of the ones he wanted to win, right? So if he goes out here, well, that's not going to be happening anytime soon.
Well, in Taipei, he made the tournament look easy.
Yeah, he did. And he was against Maru in the final. You know, you class Maru up there with the likes of INnoVation. Of course, it was on a pretty close series, but the games Life won were extremely strong on his side.
Are we going to see Hellbats again? The 3rd command center has been placed down instead of the 2nd gas, so he's not looking to go Banshees, or at least fast Banshees. Or Cloak in itself.
Straight into those Lings, but because there's so much firepower there and not as many Lings for the surface area on those Reapers, he will be able to dance past, and he gets himself another drone. 3rd drone goes down as well. Oh, actually, the target firing there was a little bit off, so... But he gets 4 drones out of that.
4 drones, but loses every single Reaper. Was that worth it?
Well, those normally couple up with the Hellions, so... That does take away the power of that little push later on, if he's going to go down that route, which with Hellions on in production tab he is.
I'm not sure it's worth it, to be fair.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think they synergize really well with the next follow-up, right?
Yeah.
So that does get taken away a little bit there from INnoVation, as the Zergling's now going to try and go on a little bit of an excursion over to the Terran base, maybe trying to avoid the Hellions and then jump in as they're moving out.
Yeah, I mean, the next movement with the Hellions and Reapers, which now the Reaper's gone, is so weak. He's not going to be able to really contest the Creepers much. There's freedom and map control given to Life, so he's able to set up a counter-attack very easily as soon as the Hellions move out. Definitely not worth it here for INnoVation. And if Life is able to get a couple of SCV kills as he looks and sees the Hellions, but goes in anyway.
Yeah, and unfortunately these things aren't going to do a whole lot. One gets split off to try and see if he can do some scouting, and he sees the 3rd command center very quickly there, but that's just INnoVation. That's just what he does.
Yeah, Life had a spine crawler until he had a scout in the base there, and then he cancelled it. Because he knows that there's no aggression coming, there's no armory, there's nothing of the sort, and he's droning freely. He's added on 6 additional Zerglings after losing a few there to make sure that he doesn't take damage to Hellions that try to run into the drone line, and apart from that, he's probably just going to be looking to drone heavily. He's in a good position to do so.
Yeah, I think so as well. The third base is on the way on the right-hand side, as you said. The creep spread isn't looking too bad as well at the front with these 3 queens positioned to not only continue the on, but also defend nicely once those Hellions become a little bit of an issue, a problem at the front, and even defend the creep tumors, which is always nice as well.
Yeah, definitely got to keep the creep tumors alive. It's almost the most, it probably is the most important part of this game as Life wants to move into the mid part. He needs that creep.
Definitely. You want it for map control, map vision, and also to slow down a Terran when they're going to push towards your bases.
INnoVation taking his third command center pretty early on, 8:30 really early. I would say like 9:30 is quite standard, but 8:30 is pushing it because he doesn't have any units, a flood of Lings. If they surround the Hellions, the game could end. I mean, he'd lose so much if he was to try and establish that third base up. But INnoVation did add the second and third barracks before the engineering base, so he's actually building up an army quite fast. So when Stim and Combat Shields is done and Medivacs are ready, he's going to have a decent chunk of army that he can start to deal damage with. And because he kept the Hellions alive and hasn't lost them yet, his next push, when that is ready, is going to be quite strong.
Plenty of more drones being added up. That one's gearing up for both players as well. So everything flowing quite nicely here. INnoVation once again looking pretty cool, looking calm in the booth, especially after game 1, the way he approached that. But this one Ling is not going to get himself a mule. He would have been the happiest Ling alive, but sadly now he's the saddest one.
Yeah, so far so good for INnoVation. I would imagine that everything's going to plan. There's been no mistakes really from INnoVation.
Yeah.
Everything is working the way that he wants it to work, and he's settled for keeping his Hellions at home and is giving Life control with creep, but is making sure his economy from that very early third is being fully maximized.
Yeah, definitely. And on the other side for Life, it's 4th base and a macro hatch.
Yeah.
So lots of lava there for Life.
And notice how there's Marines on the natural. There's no run-bys, there's no counters. INnoVation has locked his doors. We've seen Life win games just by simple Ling counterattacks. It's not working. None of the simple stuff we see Life try is being able to work against INnoVation. He's ready for this stuff.
Loads up double medevac, looking to go for an assault here, but he's just going to have to take them to the edge of creep and start clearing things up here by the looks of things.
Yeah.
That creep spread's actually getting out of control. That's a lot of creep tumors spreading very, very quickly, and INnoVation has to shut that down with the third base that he's taking here.
That's the weakness of INnoVation's game by being playing so safe that he's given this creep spread.
Yeah. And it's established itself pretty nicely. He is clearing up on this right-hand side. Obviously, it's costing scans a little bit. And these Banelings are going for a wraparound. He's going to have to pick up and get out of here. This could get very, very sticky. As the Banelings are going to walk forwards, he has to pick up. And INnoVation, with a bit of a slip and a lapse in judgment there, loses some of his army.
Lost 10 Marines. The unneeded.
Has to fall back now. Those Hellbats will provide ample support to this army for a little bit. And Life doesn't want to go too far off creep because he doesn't have centrifugal hooks to those Banelings yet to chase that Bioforce down.
I think this creep spread that's pushed itself so far back is a big problem for INnoVation. He's trying to clear it up on this right-hand side.
Ooh. The Spire's in an odd spot as well here. Actually, on this third base, it's going to flood forwards here with the Lings, though. They get good surface area on some of those Hellbats at the front, pushing forwards as well. The Widowmines haven't done anything just yet, and they get a few Lings at the back, but the entire Bioforce has been cleaned up.
Fighting heavily on creep, and it's easy for Life to take the good fights here. And INnoVation, without a bunker, without too many units here until just this second, is in a spot of bother. He's going to lose SCVs on that right side.
It's on his doorstep. Once he takes those engagements there, the third base is hop, skip, and a jump right next to his location where the battle is going on. So INnoVation has to win those fights, or at least has to make sure that he doesn't get pushed back to his third base.
I can't believe no SCVs were killed there, but he lost all his Medivac energy. That's actually a big problem there. The next couple of fights, the Medivacs are very, very low for INnoVation.
And he will try and clean up a few more of these creep tumors on the outlying positions. Gets himself a Baneling kill that was actually morphing in. Has to pick up and get out, though. Again, those Banelings will cause huge, huge issues as INnoVation's just trying to macro up on these 3 base.
But Life's right flank is weak. Creep spread isn't being respread.
No, you're right, actually. If we look at that, the way in which he can actually just constantly approach this now, he didn't get an opportunity to go up there with the Queens to respread that, but now that Banelings have centrifugal hooks, might make it a little bit easier for Life to deal with any kind of pushes down that way, but as you said, still needs to creep.
INnoVation needs to be very careful. Life's got a lot of units and he will have an upgrade advantage very shortly. If he makes one mistake, one bad engagement, Life will pounce on this third. No doubt, he'll jump on it and he'll try to clear it up.
It's a lot of Marines. It's 48 at the moment, but he's going up against 22 Banelings that Andy actually catches himself a Widowmine that was set up at the front. So just light harassment here with the Mutalisks again. Just doing a little bit of damage to supply depots. May end up causing that to burn down, but INnoVation's on top of it and will repair.
Life's on a relatively low drone count, so he's just building and building up this army. INnoVation needs to be very careful.
And that's a lot of banelings now. 38 with more morphing in. It looks like he might actually just go for a big sandwich here with the amount of units he has coming in from the right-hand side. Left-hand side, those banelings are going to morph in very soon as well. And this bio, I think he has to pick up and get out there. He's going to lose everything if he's not careful. But he decides to stand and fight. And Life is actually just bulldozing down this location. That was huge damage done to a lot of those Marines. Doesn't kill off the ones down to the bottom there. And he will have to fall back for now, but I think he got quite a few workers in that as well.
Yeah, that's the biggest part, is he killed off a lot of workers there. 11 picked off. He's only down to 54 SCVs. A good fight from Life.
Another Widowmine walks forwards to the same place the other one died, and unfortunately will get killed off. A few banelings fall down there, but he's going to force the engagement again. That's a lot of Widowmines at the back to that left-hand side and trying to complement some of this bio, but now that all the charges are gone, not too many banelings left over for the pursuit, though.
Supply's getting pretty close, actually, come to think of it. And there's not that many banelings. That was a pretty costly fight that Life did take, come to think of it a little bit more. He lost about half of his Mutalisk, all the banelings, and INnoVation's got towards 2-2 upgrade, so he's equal on that upgrade. And Life, with that type of attack, could only imagine that he wanted more than what he got. I would imagine that he wanted to completely break down this third, and INnoVation being able to hold on is probably, thinking about it more deeply, is better for him.
I mean, the way it was positioned, it certainly feels like that, right? Like he wanted to sandwich and absolutely evaporate the entire army and maybe even the whole positions, but that's not how it went here for Life, as he is just trying to get a few more banelings and Mutalisks behind this. It's very, very costly in terms of the gas, though, whereas we're always having INnoVation, or almost always, with 13 Marines in production, and they're going to be a really strong fighting force, especially now that 3-3 has started up, and once that finishes, Life better watch himself.
Yeah, INnoVation's just kind of slowing the pace of the game down, realizing that Life put a lot of money into that type of attack and is playing very aggressive with his units. Is just kind of chilling on the edge of creep, will retreat back to his third if need be. He's got a Widowmine drop headed towards his opponent's main base. A good set of Baneling detonations going off there on the Marines.
And we'll have to fall back, but this little left-hand side is being covered by an Overlord, so he might be able to see that and spot it. But still, the majority of his forces are focused at the front, with a little bit of light harassment here from the Mutalisks once again, and no units are moving to the back here, so he could get himself a few workers that are still left in that main base. But they do evacuate there for a second. Oh! He started a Spore Crawler up in his mineral line. He started a Spore Crawler, and that Widowmine, I don't think he got a single kill because of that Spore Crawler starting. Oh, well, I mean, it has 6 kills from before. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it did too much in that main base. There's hardly any workers there anyway.
Yeah. All right, going to load up another drop. Marines this time, trying to go up to that top left-hand side. There's actually no creep supporting the 4th base location, but it's very close to those Ling Banes that are very, very mobile to try and get up to that spot.
The most important parts of Life in this game are not really covered in creep. This right-hand side is starting to get back in there, but a good scan is going to clear up a lot of it. And as you said, the left-hand side, if INnoVation was to push down there, is very, very weak as well.
Mutalisk numbers have risen quite high, though. 23 at the moment, and there's not too much anti-air in the main base. Just that missile turret has to start repairing it very, very quickly, but it will fall with 2 volleys of those Mutalisks going to town on the SCVs, and that hurts a little bit of this economy.
Yeah, especially because INnoVation hasn't been able to take his 4th yet.
Yeah, it was being gooped up by an Overlord for a while, which he did clean up, of course. And he gets a few of the reinforcements in the main base. He even goes for a Contaminate on one of these buildings, as there is a huge push forward and a lot of units up towards this 3rd base here now. But here come the Lings and Banelings.
3-3 is almost done for INnoVation. He doesn't want to push this too fast.
And those Marines are still dancing around in the main base trying to clean something up. But that's still a lot of Banelings that are available to him. 26 in total. He has to pick up and get out of there. He knows he's going to be overrun.
I think the Mutalisks are going to come in and dealing a lot of damage here.
Yeah, it's another one of those medevacs. It did have some of those units in, so that was a nice pickup. He loses some of the Mutalisks for it. Left-hand side, dropping the main base, trying to kill off as much as he can here. It's just Lings flooding forwards, and they are not getting a cost-efficient trade up until the big horde of Lings comes in.
Yeah, INnoVation with the Mutalisk going inside his main base is really throwing him off a little bit. He's lost a lot inside there. He didn't really fight when he had 3-3. He's down heavily in supply. He doesn't have the best income because that 4th base is so late. And Life, who has moved drones from that main to his 4th, has a pretty good economy now. With all 4 gases being taken, all 4 base gas being taken, has that high Mutalisk count.
Ooh, and that medevac, better be careful. Boost straight on out, but he does still see it with the Overlord and could continue to pursue because the boost will be gone soon. So as long as he anticipates its movement, he could pick it off.
Yeah, INnoVation's economy is really weak.
He's going to get it.
Yeah. That's a nice pickup there by Life.
Very nice. Considering he's 200, almost maxed out now against INnoVation's 135, it's, as you said, that fourth base was delayed for so long that these drops are going to have to buy INnoVation some time here.
And his second base and third base are almost mined out too. That's something he needs to think about when he's coming towards the fifth base. There's not too many minerals left.
And Life is just expanding wherever he wants now. Up to the top left, there is another drop going up there, yes. Maybe he may fly over an Overlord, and another medevac goes down on this right-hand side. The Mutalisks are doing a lot of work for him now. That cloud has become very strong.
And they will pick off any low amounts of Marines and turrets easily.
He only has 38 Marines. Oh dear me, there's 54 Banelings on the field.
Yeah, so
he's gone up to 60. That's going to be a massacre.
Well, it depends on how he wants to use these Banelings. Does he wait for INnoVation to come on to creep, or does he try to blow up the fourth command center?
That's a good point. He could do that and just cripple the economy entirely. I mean, that is really the lifeblood here of INnoVation at the moment, as, well, Life is going to move on to the fourth base.
INnoVation is in a bit of trouble because Life has more than enough Lings and Banelings to kill the fourth, and also more than enough to defend against a push.
And there is the Widow Mines up to the main here. They only get a few drones for their troubles, but that's a lot of Banelings. He has to be careful with that Bioforce. Picks some of it up, but some of the Marauders might be abandoned. They actually be able to pick those up as well. Good job by INnoVation to clean that, but he saw the extent of this huge army now. He's got to be fearful.
Well, Life is coming to tie the series up with this next attack, and INnoVation is down in supply, and I'm not sure he can hold on.
Those Widow Mines have to get some really good detonations, and they didn't. The Lings at the front die off to them as the Banelings will just roll forwards. He doesn't even care about the fourth base. He's going right for the jugular, right into the natural, and there's not many units here left over for INnoVation, who's dropping on the left-hand side up towards that fourth base, but these Lings and Banelings are going to have a huge thing to say to these Marines in the middle of this.
Yeah, even if INnoVation's picked off 14 drones on that third base, he's about to lose everything inside his main.
Thor ends up falling. That was the rest of his anti-air actually going down the drain. 9 Marines are left, 6 Marines are left. The numbers are plummeting. The Banelings, they're idle. They don't even care. There's nothing for them to kill at this point. Everything else is doing the business. GG. Game number 2 goes to Life.
Pretty solid game there from Life. Pretty standard match overall there. But INnoVation just slowly started to run out of momentum coming into the latest parts of it there. The Mutalisks were able to deal a lot of damage, throwing him around, getting rid of a lot of SCVs, and he just didn't have the same power that he had going into this second half match.
How much does the third base to third base locations influence it there on Catalina?
Well, he's pushing forwards up there. His strategy is to push through to Life's third, always, to clear the creep, but the way that Life played so heavy with his army, very high Ling count, very high Baneling count, very low Mutalisk count for the majority, it was difficult for INnoVation to even consider being aggressive, and it was Life the one that was.
So well refined considering how they were positioned. That's something that's very key here for Life. All right, so it's 1-1 here in INnoVation versus Life. Join us after the break when we'll go into game number 3. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship, as we are on the final series here of day number 1, and INnoVation and Life are currently 1-1.
They are, and I agree with what the desk said, that I think we're going to see a lot of maps from both these players.
Yeah.
They're both, so very talented and so very good at StarCraft that when they meet each other, it usually goes the distance, as we saw just 6 days ago when they met in the quarterfinals of the GSL. This time INnoVation, looking for that revenge, started with a 1-0 lead in this series, but Life was able to take map number 2. And going into game number 3, it's gonna be Deadwing. Which spawning positions do we get? Do we get the more comfortable ones for Life? Do we get the more comfortable ones for INnoVation? These are quite important.
Yes, they are. All right, let's get into things then. Game number 3. Whoever is able to take this one goes to match point in this best of 5 series as INnoVation and Life. 2 of the best players in the world face off in the round of 16. Up to the top right, it's our red Zerg representing KT Rolster. It is Life. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, our blue Terran representing SK Telecom. It's INnoVation.
The last time they played this map was last week, and it was when we saw Life go, I think, for the 9 pull, and a lot of Zerglings to get the cancellation on the command center first to take a bit of a lead in the early stages, but INnoVation played very well going into the mid to late part, where he was able to tear apart Life through really good plays to eventually find himself in a position to win.
I mean,
and he's going for the command center first again, just this time Life not doing the same.
Yeah. So INnoVation, he knows what he wants when it comes to these kinds of maps.
Absolutely.
And he basically calls Life bluff. He said, you're not going to do that 2 times in as many weeks here.
Yeah. And Life is just going to go for the hatchery first here. Does Life want to try to go 3 hatcheries? I think it would be very, very brave. So I'd imagine just following up with a spawning pool. Maybe the gas first, then spawning pool.
Imagine if he did that, though, and it was the double bluff. Like, I think you're going to go command center first. I'm going to... But it's an ambitious move, that's for sure. Still against someone like INnoVation, who could quite happily go for a normal build and go just for a normal Reaper build like we've seen on these past 2 games.
Yeah.
You got to be careful.
Yeah, it's just going to be a 15 hatchery, 15 spawning pool coming out from Life, as standard as can be. And then he'll take the gas a little bit, very shortly, a little bit later, quite shortly afterwards, as you kind of want those Zergling speed out pretty fast to be able to deal with the maybe Hellions or the Reapers coming into play.
And he will end up spotting him pretty soon, as that Overlord did get sent in the right direction to start things off up to the top. And this SCV eventually will also spot Life pretty quickly as well. So both of them are going to know where they are.
They are, and this is going to be better positions for INnoVation, as mentioned before, compared to being in cross positions, which is easier for Life. In these positions here, INnoVation has it quite simple. His overall strategy, if he's going to play a standard game, is going to be controlling the Xel'Naga Tower and just keeping creep spread on Life's side and consistently pushing it back. He has positions where he can easily boost into the main base with Medivacs and drop and harass the main base. He's also got a very nice position on Life's 3rd base too, where he can put Marines on the high ground, the low ground, and just have a very cost-efficient set of trades in the next couple of fights that he would take from that position. And then he's just got to contain Life on 4 bases while continuing to put the pressure on. That is the more typical way that we see Terrans play in these positions, and is very difficult for Life to get those big surrounds, to get that creep spread flooding out, which was given to him in the previous game.
At least Life from here, though, spots the build that there's what's going on. So he took his 3rd base quite rapidly here compared to a normal situation.
And it's a no-gas build from Life. And INnoVation, by seeing this very fast 3rd, can always pick apart that there are no gas, because you can't get gas circling speed and build up money that way and take a 3rd this early on. It just doesn't work unless you're cutting drone production or queen production. So Life is playing a very different game. Does he try to play a very heavy roach game? Does he play a swarm host style? Usually you see Zergling speed gotten first, and then you branch out from there. But this time you're going to see 2 gases taken at once, maybe 3 gases at once. But what does he do with it?
We'll find out in a bit. You're right, he has a lot of options available to him, and INnoVation's going to have to figure that out himself. As well, behind this, he's probably just going to play his usual build from here, and actually grabbing himself the starport as well, pretty fast. So we could potentially see some. How much gas does he really have available to him? He could actually throw down a tech lab there.
Yeah, the second gas, because of the way the Overlord is, the Overlord pokes in, sees no gas, or still sees no gas from the position that it's in, and Life is like, okay, probably 3rd command center down. But the second gas, very smartly, has been taken on the natural here, which is a fake to Life, saying that, yeah, I don't have that. He's going to poke forward with the Zergling, didn't spot the gas there. He was getting shot by the Marine inside the bunker, and he could be tricked. But Life's build is 1 gas, which is very heavy mineral production, which means he should be pushing up to a lot of queens. He's already at 4 building the 5th. As long as he has spore crawlers and can identify, having this many queens is very good against what INnoVation's doing, despite Life not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, this Overlord might poke in a little bit, but it will be slightly delayed, the information that he requires at least, but there is still a window, that's for sure. There is still a window. Cloak is on the way now to complement these Banshees, and the creep spread begins here with an extra queen being added on. So he's going to have a lot of power behind that creep spread once it does really get going, but again, INnoVation's always going to look to threaten that.
Yeah, there's the armory coming in for INnoVation, so it's going to be Hellbat and Banshee. Life still doesn't know exactly what's going on. He has a spine crawler, he has 3 queens that are going to be creep spread queens, but how much energy does he save up with them? How much actual defense in terms of units and static defense does he have in preparation for an attack that he doesn't see on its way?
It's an interesting wall that he's created, actually positioning those evolution chambers in the middle with that spine crawler, but the Banshees now going to make their way over. And unfortunately for him, the main base, once again, isn't conjoined by the creep. So that Banshee, if it goes straight into the main, the Queens are going to have a hard time reinforcing that. It might just be the one lava injecting to defend.
Oh, well, it's the attack's about to take place, and Life has only 3 queens and a few amount of units. 18 are on the way, but the Hellbat's already transformed.
Yeah, that could cause a lot of problems. He's actually going to bring the Banshee forwards as well, just coupling everything together to try and do as much damage as possible at the front. Doesn't have detection. All of this has gone completely unnoticed, and these Hellbats working their way through. The Lynx are on the rocks. They're actually not helping out this fight. He knows he can't fight with just a few of them. He needs to bring them all in at the same time, but they're still going to get roasted anyway. And this is a lot of damage being done.
Huge amounts of damage being done here by INnoVation. Life is just once again being caught. He didn't expect it, he didn't spot it, and now he's being punished for it.
Banshee moves out of the way into that Spore Crawler as well. At least it's been detected, but it's not dying off. The Hellbats still holding strong here with the Banshee. Drones had to get pulled from those mineral lines to stay alive, and these Lynx should be able to clean up the majority of this with the Queen, but even that, I mean, the Banshee's still going hell for leather. 8 more drones die off.
Life is in so much trouble. There's another Banshee in his drone line. 10 have gone down so far. This is perfect from INnoVation. He's on 3 command centers now. He's got a lot of production. Oh man, Life has taken so much damage once again, and we saw what happened in the first game, and we could see a repeat in this third.
I mean, even the Overlord that he tried to poke in with, as that engagement was coming along, didn't get to see too much at all. So it's a little bit unfortunate for him, but as you say, it didn't go scouted for the longest of times, and still losing drones. He's down to, well, technically 59, going up to 63 now, so he's droned up quite nicely to complement it because he had that 3rd hatchery done, but
yeah,
still INnoVation now, 3rd base, and it's not going to be threatened for a while.
No Spire, no Baneling Nest, very little units, just always recovering his economy. So yes, his economy is back online very fast, but he did lose so many drones that will he have enough time to build up an army with the limited lava that he has to build an army for INnoVation's next attack? Stim is done, Medivacs are out, he's going to move across the other side of the map, he's going to start clearing some creep. Is Life going to be ready? The Baneling Nest being so late is so crucial for this next fight.
Yeah, it's not that you can't have Banelings, it's that you can't have centrifugal hooks. For the most part, once that creep starts getting cleared up and then INnoVation starts threatening, there's a big window here for him to start cleaning up and then maybe pressure forwards, because right now, these Marines don't really have much to contend with. Just a few Lings. 30 Lings are popping up, but he could just pick up.
Yeah, once again, beautiful play from INnoVation.
And pinned up against the wall here. These Lings are not going to get a favorable trade. Jumps out and will be able to unload again if he wants and maybe threaten, but just a sprinkling of Banelings now morphing in for the reinforcements.
He only lost 1 or 2 Marines, and now a second set of Marines are ready. And this time, they should have 1-1. It's only about 20-25 seconds away from completing. Baneling speed's on its way. Life needs that upgrade. It's going to be so difficult to stop these units if not.
Oh, counter-attack completes. Oh, and a lot of them actually die off to that Widow Mine, so it does slow down that INnoVation on point about those counter-attacks really coming along. And all he has to do is split against those Banelings at the front, decides to pick up, gets himself a trade with that Widow Mine as well, and he might head straight to the main here.
Yeah, he's got to be careful. Mutalists are in the way. He doesn't want to get caught with units in the sky.
No, that's for sure. There's not that many Banelings, though, still. There's only 6 on the field, and they still don't have centrifugal hooks, so this is off creep.
They're very far away, too. There's only 2 Banelings inside this main base. He could target fire them down.
Yeah, 2 more morphing in at the left-hand side, but they
doesn't want to lose that spawning pool.
Yeah, if he loses that, that's going to be a catastrophe. These Lings try and go in for the push forwards, and he will clean up a few of those Marines at the front, but the split is not too bad at all here for INnoVation, who trades off against this, pulls back.
But look at the 4th base. There's so many units here from INnoVation.
Still centrifugal hooks is not done. These Widow Mines setting themselves up in a really good spot for him to pressure forwards and do quite a bit of damage. Does he have enough? I don't think he does. There's only 1 Baneling there. And a lot of that's going to die. Some of those Marines actually take friendly fire from one of those Widow Mines. But
Great
the focus fire
to the Banelings.
Oh dear me, it's going to be really difficult to clean up these few Marines that are left over.
There's a lot more Marines on the way. There's 4 Widow Mines that are charging up, ready to blow again. And INnoVation punishes Life, and he's looking to do what he did in game 1 and just finish him off with this type of attack.
He's having to trade off maybe a few Mutalisks there to deal with the Marines, but Life will push it back for now. The extra reinforcing Marines are going to hold on strong for a little bit in the middle here. Those Widow Mines burrow. Dear me, those Mutalisks have to get out of there pretty soon. Oh, that went a little bit awry there.
Yeah, Life has been able to push this back very well composed here by Life. I'm actually really impressed with the way that he dealt with this. It looked like INnoVation was kind of rocketing ahead, but a couple of unfortunate Widowmine connections on that 4th base, on the Xel'Naga Tower, that assisted Life. He's still behind in supply, and INnoVation is still charging forward with his army supply and is approaching that 2-2 rapidly now.
He'll be staying ahead in supply for quite a while because his economy hasn't gone hindered at all.
Yeah.
Lives, of course, didn't really lose too many drones during all of that, but he lost a lot of valuable units. I mean, that was a lot of Banelings. He lost some of the Mutalisks in there, but still, he's been able to keep his Mutalisk flock okay, sizable. Maybe they can threaten and try and buy some time.
Yeah, there's only 1 turret inside the main base. They could do some damage. Unfortunately, the Mutalisks don't have +1 attack, which would help in bringing down these turrets. And he doesn't want to lose that upgrade that's about to finish.
Yeah, I don't even think he can really do it at that point, but still going to go for the missile turret, but the repair is good here for INnoVation.
Yeah, and 2-2 is now completed.
That's a lot of firepower, a lot of firepower, especially against the army, as the Mutalisks are not with it at the moment, and he realizes it's not with it, so why not push and seize the initiative at the front with that Marauder at the front actually soaking up 1 or 2 of those Banelings.
There's only about to be 13 Banelings. These 13 Banelings need to detonate onto the Marines. They have to, otherwise the Marines with 2-2 are going to do so much.
Some in the 3rd base, they might try and come in from both sides here, but he's actually having to engage with those Banelings straight into that. That was actually a pretty good split on the Banelings to kill off some of the split there of INnoVation.
Only 4 Banelings remaining. He needs to morph more.
And he really needs those very, very quickly, as the creep spread still not looking too glorious here for Life in between these 2 locations. If you could clean up some more, that would be nice, but it's a lot of Lings going to complement this army. The Banelings move forwards, and they actually don't do too bad there, as INnoVation's been forced to pick up. Here come the reinforcements for INnoVation.
5 more Banelings, and it's all about the Baneling connections.
Trying to move forward. Those Widow Mines, do they clean up some? A little bit. The Marines still doing all right. 3-3 is now on the way for him as well. And the Baneling numbers, they're just so sporadic, so small in number. And unfortunately for him, another Widow Mine goes awry there for INnoVation, and it kills off a few more of his units than he would like.
Is Life going to be able to hold on to this position? He has to keep this location safe.
The Mutalisks are still doing all right. There's not that many Marines at the front. There's 2 Widow Mines with this charge. 1 more is going to come into activity here in a second. And he doesn't have any Banelings really to his name at all. 2 more are morphing in, but as those numbers have slowly trickled down, it's only the Mutalisks that are going to have to trade off against it, and that's really expensive in terms of the gas.
Well, so far he's not losing too many Mutalisks, though. He's dealing a lot of damage with them.
And the Widow Mines keep getting cleaned up. They keep getting cleaned up without too many detonations that they really would like to get.
And he's pushing him off creep.
He's going to be able to force this back. He's taken a supply advantage as well. INnoVation has been pushed back to this watchtower, but that's still a lot of Marines with no Lings to complement these with. He's going to lose a few more Mulas.
INnoVation realizes that he has his opponent on the ropes and has done for a long time here. He hasn't invested into a 4th command center, and he keeps on throwing units and throwing all his money into the production that he set up before, and is just powering away. But unfortunately, he isn't able to break Life. INnoVation has another attempt to try to break Life before he gets his economy skyrocketing again, which he has this 4th command center on the way, and that's going to be when this 3-3 completes. But I can't believe Life, I almost over 50% of the time, had no Banelings, yet still was able to produce enough Zerglings and keep the Mutalisks alive to push back the small forces of INnoVation time after time. And if the Mutalisks go here...
Oh, no, wrong way. Oh, dear me. Oh, okay, that was quite a few Mutalisks actually dying off. He actually did pretty well to keep a lot of those alive.
He lost about 6 there, 5 to 6.
And that does hurt, that really does. 10 only alive now with 12 Banelings available to him.
And 3-3 complete. And remember, that didn't cost INnoVation anything. And the Widow Mines are going to be charged up again shortly.
Yeah, that walk across gives them time, ample time, to get set up and good to go very, very soon. Banelings move forwards. Not exactly the best kept connections, only 8 left. He's also dropping up towards the natural as well. As the Banelings and Lynx try and move forwards, get a wrap around, push that back. But this is going to do a lot. He loses the Baneling Nest. If he loses the Baneling Nest, how is he supposed to deal with extra pushes.
There is a small little window here where without the Baneling nest, no Banelings can be morphed. Currently, there are only 9 on the map. He needs to buy himself time to get that back up.
And that flood of units in the middle, that extra force of Marines, this could be the nail in the coffin here for Life, who has valiantly held on at these locations. Even had chance to spread creep a little bit more whilst all this is going on. Loses some of those links to that Widowmine. He gets a few good kills there.
This is all or nothing for Life. He has to hold this. He's so far behind in supply. INnoVation looks like he could go up 2-1 with this next fight.
Baneling that's not done yet. The Banelings that he has remaining to him actually move forwards. That was only 4 of them. There are 5 left actually to push forwards. But as long as INnoVation is able to split, that's the remaining Banelings at the front. Do they do enough? No, it doesn't look like it. INnoVation can press his advantage on towards this 4th base and try and do some damage. But those Mutalisks have to buy time somehow. But I don't think they can. Look how much more bio is on the way. The mules drop as well. INnoVation says, get out, GG. Game number 3 goes to INnoVation, and he is 1 game away from the round of 8.
Excellent performances here from INnoVation after that loss last week in the round of 8 in GSL. It's time for revenge. And the SK Telecom player here is making it happen in this SK Telecom KT roster war that we've seen so often with Life joining the team. INnoVation up 2 games to 1, and the next map is going to be that Inferno Pools, the same map that Life won his championship on at Taipei just a month or so ago. And this is going to be a very, very important map, considering what we've talked about for weeks and weeks and weeks. These 2 players heading up against each other. The winner of this is so favored to go the distance in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. If Life drops out of NSSL as well as this in, again, as many weeks or as many days, basically, then that's going to have a little bit of a hit on Life there. Of course, he is an extremely, extremely strong player with a very, very strong lineup ahead of him. But still, that's not the best position for Life. Anyway, we're going to go to a short break, and when we're back, we're going to have match point in INnoVation's favor here at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. I need the bathroom, man. Yeah. All right, game number 4 now on the way between INnoVation and Life as we get onto Inferno pools for our next map.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a very interesting one. We've seen this matchup time and time again on this particular map, and it's taken some interesting turns.
It hasn't played out to the standardized Terran versus Zerg that we're used to seeing because of the map. The one way that we could see that happen is if we get cross spawns. But every time that we've seen this map played in a competitive environment, it's been close spawns or horizontal, which have close vertical or close horizontal, which have resulted in very difficult games for Zerg players. So we'll see what's going to happen here. Life has to bring out his A game. Life must not die to Hellbats. It's as simple as that. He's lost 2 games because of them now.
All right, let's get into things then. Game number 4, as we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner. It's our red Zerg representing KT Rolster. It is Life. And up to the top left-hand corner, our blue Terran. 1 game away from moving on to the round of 8. It's representing SK Telecom. It's INnoVation.
Looking great today. Looking really, really solid.
Yeah.
Luckily for Life, excuse me, we've got cross positions. And when he finds this out, he's going to be very, very happy. Right now, he doesn't know. He may think his opponent could be up north, he could be to the west. But in cross positions here, it plays in a similar manner to Deadwing in cross positions. There's a lot of space here through the middle of the map that can be just creep spread. There's a lot of run-bys. There's a lot of flanks that Life can go for. It's hard for INnoVation to really engage properly. And if he's going to win in a longer game, he has to play his heart out.
And it's funny because a couple of the most memorable ZVTs that we've had to cast here, Sean, have never ended up in these spawning locations. They've always ended up in the more awkward ones where it is those close spawns, bi-vertically or horizontally. So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be very interesting to see what I would say INnoVation does more than Life, because Life from here just plays a pretty usual game. INnoVation, though, technically, I guess he has to play a pretty usual game himself and doesn't have too many aggressive options.
He could try the Hellbat stuff again, I suppose, but this time Life isn't going to give him such an easy way through that. And the very easy thing Life needs to do is either build a Roach or an Urbanian nest for defensive reasons just blindly, or get scouting information. And get an Overlord in there, see it coming, and then prepare yourself. Life's build, by the way, he's gone for the Extractor first, then Spawning Pool, so he is going to work on this circling speed very, very early on. His build's a little bit weaker to some kind of proxy or some kind of very, very early rush, but the map size and not knowing where your opponent is, he can get away with that.
CV's going to head on down to this bottom location, and he might be a little bit sad to find out that he's not down there, and then he will eventually spot cross spawns, potentially even by seeing the Overlord down there as it crosses the path once it heads on there in that direction.
And he will eventually, I don't know actually if he'll spot this Overlord, but he might. Either way, he'll find it eventually where his opponent is. And he's already just scouted to the bottom left and seen no second base, so he's already returned back. If this was a 1 base all in, with Life being in the bottom left, it would be hilarious to see this play out.
Yeah, and he did spot the Overlord down there and just sends the SCV straight on back home, knowing now what he's going to be up against. It is cross spawn, so the Reapers are going to head on over towards that direction. And then, no doubt, coupling this the Hellions later on for the push.
This has to be a 3 command center build from INnoVation. The map is so big, if Life tried to play aggressive, it wouldn't work. It takes far too long for him to get to the other side of the map with Zerglings and Roaches and whatever else you would try it with. I suppose you can't really try it with anything else, but this is going to be a long macro game, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. There is a lot of potential for that. A drone falls, though, to just 1 Reaper's worth of harassment, as only 2 Lings pop to shoo that off. And the second Reaper, sneaky guy, is going to stay home just in case any Lings were on the way back there.
Yeah, INnoVation just playing completely safe. I imagine 3rd command center, completely safe game, and he's got to power up, ready to tackle the beast that is going to be Life and his creep spread come the 10 and 15-minute mark.
I mean, even on a map like Catalina, where the 3rd base for INnoVation to pressure is so accessible, he still wasn't able to shut down that macro beast like you mentioned. Like even Snoop mentioned in the pre-game to allude to the fact that he can macro like an absolute champion. I mean, the macro hatch, the 4th base coming down, he has so much access to lava that it makes it very difficult to trade against.
All right, third base going to be taken here for life, and he's just going to drone. He does have an overload on the natural, but not towards the main base yet, so he's still a little bit in the dark when it comes to if INnoVation is playing that Hellbat play, what can Life do to stop it? He has no idea of yet.
Scan Speed will spot these Lings moving across the map, but that's not going to help INnoVation out too much, as they will move on forwards and see if they can threaten at all, but there's not really much room. He would need to wait for those Hellions to leave. They may end up going on a different trajectory, as they are going to be quite sneaky as well around this top side. But they will be coupled with a few more Hellions actually joining at the front as well there.
You see that Spine Crawler coming in here for Life, noticing that he has lost a couple of easy matches, or at least put himself in a bad position because of Hellbats. Doesn't want that to happen again.
Left the Ling on the watchtower, so he was able to spot that moving across, and the third base is going to be up towards his opponent, but the fourth base from there, I mean, potentially could be a gold base, and that could change things up quite a bit in terms of how much you're able to pump into Lings and things like that, so that could be good for Life, as long as his creep spread's on point, though.
6 Lings escaping. They're going to try and do a run by.
Yeah, and if those Hellions actually end up joining from the ramp, then that could cause a few problems for him, but for now, look at, I mean, it comes back to how he positioned his second Reaper, right? He's just playing super defensively, making sure that he can macro up very, very well, and taking his third base, which is going to be spotted very quickly there down to the left.
It's very early on. If you think back to Catalina, 8:30 was early. This is 8 minutes now.
Yeah, and we'll be able to shoot those Lings off with those Hellions, even completing that wall off with an extra supply depot, but as you said, it's early, and it's going to have to be cleaned up by those Hellions that go down and force that Ling away.
Uncharacteristically, there is a mistake from Life, which doesn't happen very often, but inside his main base, the extractor that he's working on has 4 drones instead of 3. It's been there for a long time. I've been watching it for a little bit here, and he hasn't noticed.
He may when he actually goes to throw drones into the next extractor that he's taken there, but yeah, for now, that will stick around as Leia's now morphing him. He's getting himself that Baneling nest as well to continue on into the next steps of this game.
Yeah, this has been a very slow match between the both of them. No large fights, no large engagements, just because of the map size. We didn't see INnoVation go for Hellbats. Funny enough, I don't think Life really made any differences and any adjustments to his build to accommodate Hellbats anyway. He just said, okay, if you do it again, I guess I'm going to be in a bad position, or at least I'll try again with what I have. It's a complete macro game. Both players double upgrades, third base taken. We're going to see Life look toward taking a macro hatch, which he's already started. He's going to take his fourth base very soon. And the very next play that we're going to see, as INnoVation goes in just to have a look, and he's confirming everything that I'm saying now, is INnoVation gets to move out with his Medivacs and is starting to put pressure on. And the #1 goal, stop this creep thread from spreading as it already is all over this map. This is so important to stop this.
Really good, actually, positioning of the creep tumors to start off. I mean, he's got 4 going down towards that gold base if he needs that. A few more pushing up towards the base to defend his now 4th base being erected. And plenty of Lings on the way with centrifugal hook started, so there's not too much delay on that for him to stop the start of INnoVation's push through the middle.
All right, so as mentioned, this is going to be a long game, no doubt here.
Yeah.
How much damage can INnoVation do? We already see Lings to the north here. What you can only imagine is to a run by in towards that location, and INnoVation is moving out at the correct time. And very smartly, Life is waiting for the correct time to move in with his Zerglings. He knows at this point the Medivacs are ready, and INnoVation's going to move out, and Life is going to move in.
And how quickly will he react? And he doesn't react quick enough as if those Lings are let through into that. But at the same time, there's a lot of Hellions here to be able to clean this up. So he should be able to kill off those ones up to the left-hand side that have managed to get in. Didn't really lose much there at all.
And also Lings towards the third.
Oh, but he might lose something here. He's actually going to have to go for the bunker to start things off. Marines clearing up some of this creep in the middle. Get some good focus fire on some of those Banelings. And Ling's not doing too bad, actually, getting a few workers there.
He doesn't want to lose too many more workers. 6 have already gone down, including the bunker, the Marines that were in it. He's going to get a 7.
Going to have to run on back here. Get some of the Hellions as well, which is a nice pickup for Life. As his supply is looking all right. It's looking all right. 10 workers go down in total.
Wow, wonderful play there from Life. Again with his counterattacks, he's re-spreading the creep that INnoVation cleared it before. He gets 10 SCV kills. He's going to deal with this as well. Everything is going in Life's favor so far. This is a brilliant game, and it's very simple in what he's done. He knows his opponent's timings. He knows when he's moving out. He goes in for the counters. He's got enough units at home in preparation for the Marines that are going to be pushing across, and he's dealt a lot of damage.
So what does he do here? I mean, surely either the middle push is going to have to be extremely strong and well orchestrated, or he's going to have to find angles like this, right, with the drops.
I mean, he hasn't really slowed the creep spread down too much because it got respread instantly, so the creep spread's still pushing itself. INnoVation needs Life to make mistakes or to be out of position, like you say. He needs to get drops off. He needs to go back and get this creep down again.
Well, thankfully, for these two drops, the Mutalisks are being a little bit more aggressive.
So if these two Medivacs can destroy that fourth base, INnoVation finds himself hugely in the lead.
But the Overlords are spreading themselves towards that location to spot them, and they did have Overlord speed, so they positioned themselves very, very quickly, and he should have spotted it. The
he's seen it.
Converging.
He's seen it, and there's going to be Lings underneath the Medivacs, hopefully.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Those Widow Mines, he's actually going to lose those as well. This is going to be a very, very big disaster. They don't even get a detonation. Wow. That's a great cleanup by Life.
Excellent play from Life. He's stopping everything INnoVation's throwing at him, and INnoVation is feeling the pain of playing Life on this type of map with these positions.
Yeah.
With the amount of space that Life naturally has had and given.
You're right, these positions is the big factor. And he's going to find another Medivac. It basically flies right into them as a gift. He tried to evacuate Widow Mines out there, and he's going to pick up one of them. The second one will fall without anything being done.
And INnoVation's like, oh, nothing is working in this game. Everything I've attempted has been shut down. And unfortunately, Life is cruising ahead in this game. He's got so many units. He's free to move up to the infestation pit. He's on a high drone count as well.
Nothing's been stopped, and this might not be stopped if he's not careful. That's a lot of Lings, a lot of Banelings. But that being said, the Widow Mines have already burrowed themselves. He splits some of those units off, unburrows that Widow Mine as he knows it's not going to get an active detonation that would be really effective for him. And one at the front doesn't do too much, but here comes the flood of Lings and Banelings trying to move. That was a big, big Widow Mine detonation.
Yeah, and Life backs off as soon as that. Almost every single one of those only has a couple of hit points left. That was unfortunate there for Life. He took a lot of damage, but pretty good defense and good Widow Mines from INnoVation.
And whilst going for that defense, he is going to drop down to this bottom position at the natural, killing off a queen, limiting a little bit of that lava that's going to be produced from that location, and deny some mining time. So that's okay here for INnoVation. He needs to find these holes.
I think it's pretty smart from INnoVation what he's doing here by squeezing out these drops despite Mulus being played, because as big as the map is for INnoVation to move across, it is as big just for Life to move around to defend if these drops plant themselves in the right locations.
Well, one Mutalisk finds this, but that's actually, I think, Widow Mines in there, which could cause some issues. He's trailing them back, and some of them will go off. And the last one, unfortunately, is not burrowed, but at least he gets out with the Medivac for now.
All right, INnoVation needs to start 3-3. It's as simple as. He's forgotten that so far.
The hero swarm host has begun.
I'm not too sure what that's about, just one.
He's going to command the army and lead it to great victory here for the swarm. But from the back lines, of course, he sits there for a while and doesn't really do too much. As these Banelings trying to move forwards. And that...
Good detonations.
Yeah, that didn't do too bad.
Not so good splits there from INnoVation.
And that one, Widow Mine only gets a few Lings for his troubles.
All right, well, Mulus are at a decent number. They're at 19. They will have +2 attack very soon, so they can actually start to swing around maybe to the main base and start to pick off turrets.
Well...
Yeah, Life didn't want that, did he?
Mutiny. That commander, yeah, he's not sticking around for too long. Okay, so even if another drop foiled, the plans have been ruffled, and unfortunately he will not be able to do too much there.
Drop on the natural too. It gets 8 drone kills down here.
That's all right. How many workers are we at? 65 against 80. Still a very, very strong economy presence here for Life in this game.
Not the best creep spread at this position, to be honest. There's only 1 or 2 creep tumors pushing that fourth up, and now they've been eliminated.
Reaper, unfortunately, has
probably been there from the start of the game.
Yeah. I wonder if he's in Vision of Light. I guess he mustn't be whilst all this is going on.
No, it's just been sat there.
So he is sitting behind enemy lines.
But no, look at the 3-3 upgrades. Usually you see the Terran have 3-3 upgrades and a huge timing window where he can cost efficiently trade with the Zerg. Because of Life being so free in this game, he's able to get 3-3 of his own on the way, and also the Ultralisk Cavern. So the Marauder count's going to be important, and the timing window that INnoVation have is going to be minimal compared to usual games.
Yeah, the room of not being pressured has really given him so much breathing space. As the Mutalisks, again, going for harass. I mean, as a Zerg, when you're going for harass as freely as he is here, it's a comfortable spot, but... It's a big map, as you mentioned.
Yeah, so these 2 Medivac drops need to do a lot, and with only 1 turret and +2 Mulus, this is going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, that missile turret will end up falling, so maybe he gets some workers.
Life's already there for that drop.
Greets it, and the Spine Crawlers to help out as well, so get a few more Marines on there.
15 SCVs have gone down. Turrets, Marines, This drop has a lot of work to do to keep up with the amount of damage the Mutalisk is still doing.
Off into the main, there's not that many drones to really shut down. Maybe a little bit of gas will be stifled as that income does deplete a little bit, but doesn't even get the gas, unfortunately. He has to fall back because the Zerglings and Banelings are oh so fast.
Well, the Mutalisks are going to escape and actually come back, I would imagine, to deal with this.
Oh,
well, he could have picked up and put that back in the main base.
He could have, but unfortunately for him, he did not.
And now INnoVation's moving out. He's like, okay, I've got 3-3. The Mutalisks aren't harassing me anymore. Maybe I can try to take this fight that could win the game or give me a big lead. But the timing window is so very small. 3-3 is almost complete for life. He's got so many Banelings, and INnoVation is walking almost into his death. If these Banelings just charge at him, INnoVation isn't expecting this. He would never expect the Zerg to charge.
Yeah, some of the Mutalisks fall, but there's still a lot of Banelings. There's 57 Banelings here. If Life actually congeals all this together and is able to get a good impact, then he will be able to shut it all down. The Widowmines don't do a huge amount. This bio is going to have to fall so far back before it actually ever trades.
Yeah, and INnoVation's army still on the other side of the map. Once again, hits a brick wall, bounces off it, and has to go and retreat to his reinforcements and try again. 3-3 is done, and also +3 attack for these Mutalisks. Ultralisks are on the way. This is only going to get more difficult for INnoVation the longer the game goes on. He needs to start dealing damage to Life's economy.
You can't give him this much room, and he's trying to kill off some of this expansion over down towards the gold. The Widowmines will help out a little bit against Banelings, but again, they've been split off. Slight small pockets of Banelings move forwards to get rid of the Widowmines, shots even the Widowmines. But he needs the support of his Lings and Mutalisks to really focus that.
Yeah, Mutalisks are dealing damage. The Banelings come rolling in. There's only Medivacs left. The Mutalisks can come and chase him down on Life. Again, pushes INnoVation back. He's got 7 Mutalisks being built here.
He's on the hunt. He's on the hunt. He's moving closer and closer towards the expansions here of INnoVation. And as that goes on, he needs to get some units out. He needs to rally back against this. He needs his economy up and running. 5 Ultralisks morphing in very, very soon to continue on this extra pressure here against INnoVation.
I don't think that INnoVation can keep up with the Ultralisks, and Life is planning to build hatcheries on the other side of the map as well in the previous game. As INnoVation calling down mules in Life's face. Life has other plans.
Yeah, he's going to turn around and say, get out of my game number 4, because here come the Ultralisks marching forwards. They don't have that many units to complement them, but once the extra ones come along, there's not that many Marines left. There's only 90 Marines on the field as Life is laying waste to this wall. He'll lay waste to this base and this small force. Even the Widowmine is going to kill off some Marines.
INnoVation is down at 80 supply. These positions, he wasn't able to tackle Life's macro in these positions, and just the distance that he is away from the Zerg. And Life has played a perfect defensive game, and now the hatcheries are being planted in INnoVation's face.
Here come the drones. They're going to taunt him forever. Unfortunately, here the Lings move forwards. GG. Life ties up the series. We're going to game number 5.
And as a lot of fans wanted to see map number 5, we will. And it's going to be on Vanny Research Station between the two. And everything is on the line now. Just a single map between the two of them will be the difference between a round of 8 at least performance here and still the chance to challenge for the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship trophy in an early exit here in Poland.
It wouldn't have been Life and INnoVation without it going all the way to a 5th map, especially with how these games have played out, and especially how Life was able to plan his game around that game number 4 and the spawning positions that he got. He took full advantage of it, and why on earth not, as he ties it up 2-2 now.
Yeah, 5 maps last week, 5 maps this week. These two players are going to have a long rivalry if they continue on like this.
All right, so join us after the break when we'll have the final game, the conclusion of INnoVation versus Life. All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship as we go into game number 5 between INnoVation and Life, and it's all on the line here, moving on to the round of 8 in our most anticipated round of 16 match for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the toughest match of the round of 16 that any player who entered this tournament is looking at. Who is my opponent? And both of these looked at the bracket and said, oh no, it's you again. INnoVation and Life have played against each other so many times over the years. It's INnoVation who has the best head-to-head record, but as of recently, it is this man. He's on fire. He's the world champion. It is Life who just can't seem to lose, and when he does, it's very deep in the tournament, but it is all or nothing right now. Game number 5, everything is on the line. This isn't just a game Colaris, this is the World Championship.
All right, let's get into it then. Varney Research Station, as we have spawning down to the south, it's our Red Zerg. Representing KT Rolster, it is Life. And up to the north, blue Terran. Representing SK Telecom T1, it is INnoVation. And the winner of this gets the gift of moving on to the round of 8 to play Zest.
That's right. They do, and the round of 8 will be happening on Saturdays. We conclude the round of 16 tomorrow. This is our last game of the day, the very last map of the day. The very choices and strategies, do I be aggressive, do I not be aggressive, can mean the difference between winning and losing, can mean the difference between being a winner and being a loser. It is so intense when you go into game number 5 at this point. You can always second guess yourself once the game ends. Why did I do that? Should I have done this? But it's a clean slate as of now.
And Life going to go command center, INnoVation going to go command center first here to start things off in this game, whilst Life on the other side of things has sent his overlords in the general directions that you would on this map, because you've got to be kind of careful on this one.
Life has chosen spawning pool first because he wants to play this cautiously. INnoVation over the last weeks or so, even the games against Life in the GSL, has shown that he is not afraid to put barracks on the other side of the map, outside Life's base, to try to win the game instantly. Life's having none of it. Even though Hatchery can deal with a lot of these builds, Spawning Pool definitely deals with these. He gets the Queen out early, he can get Lings out early, and also on top of this, depending on if he builds Zerglings or not, can turn this aggressive if he has that in mind, but with the second Overlord placement just still being static outside of Life's base, this tells me he's wanting and waiting to see if INnoVation was trying anything tricky.
And he already sees an SCV moving across, and that might give rise to the idea that it's not as something as aggressive, it's more of a normal SCV scout, but it could be something reinforcing barracks at the front if he'd have spotted something like that. But as of yet, no information regarding that kind of identity.
So the longer this game goes, the better INnoVation's going to be in a position to get into the ideal Terran location, which is suffocating the fourth while dropping the back base. And that back base is going to be the second base, which Life has just now taken, which INnoVation's going to go down and spot as he's now revealed what Life's up to. This position is going to be the best position that INnoVation will want to find himself in. If he could do damage throughout the game leading up to that point to slow Life down from where he could be, INnoVation takes this, I think. Life has to be very careful, very cautious, because remember also during this series, 2 maps that INnoVation has big wins on are because Life didn't see an attack coming. He has to smell these out.
No, you're entirely right. I mean, coming back to what you were saying at the very beginning of that with how you pressure the fourth base to the natural base that has been taken in the pocket, they are so far away from each other. Even Lings and Banelings on creep, they take a little while to get over there, but obviously you're going to counteract that with Overlord positioning, trying to spot those things out early. Maybe even the Mutalisks are a little bit more active around the middle of the map to try and catch that, but Lings are being aggressive. Just going to poke away at that supply depot, and they can't really do a whole lot because there are 2 Marines out already.
Having a quick look at his opponent's build, and he sees just the regular setup, and unfortunately doesn't see the second gas. And this is already a big tell into what INnoVation is planning to do to attempt to move to the round of 8. He's looking to do damage very early on with either Hellbats once again, or it's going to be the Banshee play. Both are very easy to stop if you know it's happening. Right now, Life doesn't know. There is one Overlord that can get that information. It needs to swing around, but INnoVation, likewise, as Life knows that he needs to get in, INnoVation needs to stop this from happening.
Yeah, and it's very difficult, especially on a map like this, because this one Overlord is really the only one. With the second Overlord, the direction he sent it to try and spy out barracks, unfortunately, that was never going to be as aggressive as the other one in terms of its positioning. So it's only on that one Overlord, compared to a map where you would normally have maybe even two.
That's true, and with only having one, it's very easy for INnoVation to stop this. The Overlord pokes in, and INnoVation shoots it, and it leaves. He still doesn't know what he's playing against. This could be 3 command centers like we've seen previously, or it's going to be a big attack again. Currently, Life doesn't have that Roach Warren, he doesn't have that Baneling Nest, he is adding on additional queens, which is standard. But at this point, he was in the exact same position he was when he took the huge amount of damage. He's got to be so very careful.
Yeah, these Hellions could easily just be one of those more economic openers, as they are going to move down towards this round. At least he can defend his 2 locations, but here comes the Overlord. He sees the gas.
He spots it. He now knows what he's playing against. The second gas has been taken, and the Baneling Nest immediately starts. That is a great scout from Life. Now he needs to get the units ready. The armory's on its way. He doesn't spot the armory, but just seeing the second gas is a tell enough to start the defense to get ready for this.
Spinecrawler's on the way as well, almost finished here at the top of this ramp. Second Baneling Nest goes down. Life a little bit on autopilot.
2 Baneling Nests, just double amount of Banelings, I suppose, Kalaris.
I want to be double sure. I don't want to lose a Baneling Nest again, that's for damn sure. But, well, there's going to be those queens moving out and pushing this back. And, yeah, it's a little bit of a odd move for Spore Crawlers across all of these locations to make sure he's well defended against the Banshees.
Even a Spore Crawler, 4 Spore Crawlers, as you said, just he doesn't want to take any damage here. He's got Zerglings that he can morph to Banelings, and he has quite a few queens with more in the way and more Zerglings coming in. The first Banshee's going to attempt, and then at the front here, the Hellbats are, the Banelings are morphing, but they're not ready. 5 are on the way.
And he needs to keep the queens alive as well. They are very, very useful in the defense. That Spinecrawler's doing all right, actually, at the front as well. But where are the Banelings to try and shut this down?
They weren't ready.
They need to come in, and he's going to lose quite a lot of drones. He's actually not evacuating at all. 3 end up falling. Banelings need to get a good position here. He could split off some of these to try and mitigate some of the damage coming up, but he cleans up. He cleans up.
And he does exactly what he needs to do. He's still taking damage from this Banshee, but the Spore Crawler readjustment can easily help out. There's another Banshee, but Life only lost 5. In the previous games, he lost 10 to 15. This is a much, much better defense and a better position to find himself in.
He's adding on 2... okay, so the extra... he's going to actually poke forwards here with the Banshees. Loses one of those evolution chambers at the back.
Yeah. That's a bit of a pain that he lost the evolution chamber. He's only going to be able to get 1 upgrade now instead of 2, where INnoVation does have 2 on the way. But INnoVation's getting more kills. The Hellbats weren't the ones that got the drone kills. It's the Banshees, and he's been able to get 8.
And the 1-1 has already started here for INnoVation behind all this on his engineering base, whilst that second evolution chamber has to finish up now. And that third command center will be soon ready to go here for INnoVation in a location that's not that difficult to fortify here for him, considering the little bits of damage he's done.
Absolutely. Life now is in an okay position. He's definitely not as in a bad position as he was previously because he dealt with it better, but it wasn't perfect. It definitely wasn't perfect. And now INnoVation, with Banshee still alive, is going to move out, take his third, and he's going to get ready to do the next wave that we've seen time after time after time. The Medivacs and Marines joining together, and if he can find a location where Life is weak and not expecting units. For example, he doesn't have any Banelings right now. He doesn't have Baneling speed on the way, and there isn't great Overlord coverage on this right-hand side flank. The Medivacs are on their way. If Life isn't ready, he will take more damage and find himself falling further and further behind and giving INnoVation the better chance to get their revenge from last week.
And the fact of the matter is that Spire has only just started, so there is a window here for these Medivacs to try and do something. And they are going to move on to this right-hand side. There's so many units that are way out of position.
In position. He's nowhere near. He didn't see this.
This is going to cause a lot of problems. A lot of problems. Double med right now on the way. Life trying to actually deal with this. He's going to lose quite a bit here. The Queen will end up falling. Spore Crawler is going to fall as well. That's going to give the Medivac full reign in this location. And even if the Lings move forward, he needs Banelings to clean it up.
INnoVation's ripping him apart because he knows the full attention's on this right-hand side. The Carapace upgrade is going to go down. But more importantly, Cloris, there's 2 Medivacs on the left-hand side.
This is going to cause problems.
INnoVation's pulled him to the right, and now he's going for his third base too.
Oh no, this is going to be huge. If he's able to get a few more drones here, he actually drops right on top of some of these Lings, but they're not going to be able to clean it up too quickly. A few Widow Mines here as well do cause some damage. And he has to pull out straight on how. Oh, just barely gets that out.
He manages to keep that Medivac alive. If that had gone down, that could have been pretty bad for INnoVation, but he keeps it alive, and Life is under so much pressure. He's lost a crucial upgrade, and the harassment continues.
Losing drones, the Lings will flood on forwards to shut this down and push it back. Oh, it picks up that Medivac, cleaning that up. So Life is holding on.
Yeah.
And he has some Mutalisks on the way now, which will aid in the defense here against the extra medevac pushes.
Yeah, very good aggression, and it was matched by decent defense there from Life, despite being out of position. Combat Shields was forgotten. Even though Stim finished a long time ago, it's only just this second begun. That will give Life an edge in the fights because the hit points that the Combat Shields do offer the Marines is going to be missing. And for the time being, Life can breathe. The game slows down a little bit. He needs to get Overlord spread on this right-hand side. He cannot allow that type of drop to hit him when he's blind once again. He needs coverage.
And this army is going to start amassing here for INnoVation behind his walls. As that medevac on the left and on the right. Going to try and pressure again. That fourth base, how well defended is it at the moment? There's plenty of units there to help that out.
So I think INnoVation should probably slow down on the harassment. And the key plan, because of the amount of harassment and how much he's slowed Life down already, he's got 2-2 upgrades that are about to complete. He's already stopped one of Life's upgrades. Yeah. He's already hurt his economy a lot. Just gather your units together and go for a massive push when those 2-2 upgrades complete. That is probably the ideal type of fight to take and the best chance to move through to the next round.
And the carapace is something that really hurts against the the Marine-based composition when they are dealing so much damage in small packets. He cleans that up. Very, very well done there, does Life. And he is toe-to-toe in terms of supply, but his supply blocks, he needs to get out of that.
Oh, man, yeah, he needs to get out of that for sure, and he's got to deal with this drop inside the main base. INnoVation's closing on 2-2. This next fight is going to be, I would almost say, make or break for Life. He has to stop this, otherwise INnoVation goes through.
And this drops, it will get cleaned up eventually as the medevac actually died off to the Spore Crawler. A lot of Life's attention and focus is on his fourth base, his more healthy bases, to try and keep that going. But 3-3 is on the way without +2 melee even finishing up just yet.
Yeah, this next fight is going to be so big.
Yeah, a very, very strong army here for INnoVation. Moving down towards this location, cleaning up some of that creep. He sees how many Banelings are there. There's only 19 on the field. They're going up against 52 Marines with 2-2 as well. He cleans up some of them at the front, but that's a really strong split here from INnoVation with some good Widowmine coverage as well.
Yeah, brilliant. He drops the base at the same time, so he gets 4 additional drone kills, but a good fight from INnoVation. He backs off to reinforce. He takes his fourth base. He is in full control of this match.
That was right in his face as well. His entire army was technically there, but INnoVation somehow found a way to, on that left-hand side, to go for the drop. It's still only 14 Banelings, 6 more morphing in, but Life doesn't quite have the numbers available to him to contend with the full might of INnoVation if he groups up and goes for the push. A few more Banelings move forwards. They hit into Marauders though, and that does cause some issues. Some Marines trying to step forwards once again here, and these aren't the trades that Life really wants. He is down in supply.
INnoVation has Life exactly where he wants him.
And the modelings move forwards, but it's still not an amazing trade. Still, look at the Marines at the back, waiting, biding their time here for INnoVation, making sure that as long as he traded off against the Banelings well, then he's going to be in good stead. The Banelings in the middle didn't get anything done there, as he will press the issue down towards this location again.
Life has to hold this position. If he loses his hatchery, it's as simple as he loses the game.
More Banelings still aren't doing enough. Those 4 Banelings rolling forwards are some of the only ones he has left, and they still don't do what they need to. There's not that many Marines left over here, so the Mutalists should be able to push this back with the Lings. So it's an alright cleanup for now, but behind this, INnoVation, where's all of his army gone?
INnoVation has been pushed back. It's 30 supply difference. There was good fights there by Life. He pushes INnoVation back. He keeps his base alive. He's getting closer to having his 2-2 upgrades. INnoVation does have this fourth base, but Life has broken free from that contain.
Wow, I really want to watch the replay back there and see how INnoVation's macro is doing behind that, because it felt as if he could have had more waves being powered out there to round out that supply a little bit, but regardless of that fact, INnoVation now, he's up against it. The Mutalists are actually going to go back towards that natural, put on some pressure there, and they actually did a lot of damage.
And just like that, at a flick of a switch, Life has been able to turn it around by keeping INnoVation from that fourth base, maximize the amount of income he can get, and if that goes, he takes down the command center. That is so big. As big as Life losing his fourth was, as big as INnoVation losing that second is.
This is down to the wire. INnoVation once again is going to press the issue down here, but Life somehow wins these engagements out with just minimal Baneling. I can't believe how he's able to do it. It's almost something that very few other Zergs are able to do, but Life pulls it off to a T.
He's respreading his creep around that fourth base, which is his shield to what INnoVation is trying to achieve. The Mulist grabbing a medivac here as well, as that so important second base that he's taken out from INnoVation. And 3-3 has completed, so even though Life has dealt a lot of damage to the infrastructure and the economy, He hasn't touched the army yet, and this is the next big problem he has to face.
And the numbers have soared. I mean, he's almost at 30 Mutalisks. He's at almost 40 Banelings now, with a few of those crashing forwards. But this army for INnoVation, yes, it has the 3-3 available to it, but 3-3 now starts here for life. If he's able to buy a little bit more time, continue that on, this could be catastrophic. He doesn't know how many Banelings is down at this bottom right. The Mutalisks are going to swing in tandem with a small pocket of those Banelings to kill off a few of the army on the left-hand side. And we'll try and slowly move forward. Some Lings again, and the Banelings, they get a wraparound on small pockets of Marines. Every time he does this, he takes chunks away from INnoVation's army. Here comes a flood of Banelings trying to crash forward, but INnoVation steps into play and has a good split off against some of those Banelings.
That's a pretty good fight. These 3-0 upgrades are so big for INnoVation. He wins that fight off, and he's going to be able to take this buff out. Live calls the evacuation. It's a big pickup for INnoVation to get this. Will Life's reinforcements that he's building be able to deal with this army?
That's a lot more Banelings morphing in. He has none available to him at the moment here. The Mutalisks have to buy a little bit of time for them to morph in, but he takes a few losses. 17 Mutalisks now on the field. INnoVation on with the pressure. He's up 40 supply, trying to move towards that third base. Those Banelings on the left-hand side. Oh, those Marines are very clumped up, but he forces it back for now.
Life's dealing with the reinforcements that are streaming one by one. These Banelings are going to connect. No, not really. They deal some of the damage, but not all of it.
All right, but now the Mutalisks are actually being shredded up by a lot of those Marines. Here come the Mules as well. That 4 doing huge damage. Life feels up against it, and he is down and out. He knows he is dead. INnoVation here with the counterplay towards that 4th base. Life is devastated. GG. INnoVation moves forwards 3-2 against the 2014 world champion in Life.
What a series from the robot Terran. He gets his revenge from the GSL, round of 8, and eliminates the reigning Intel Extreme Masters champion and the reigning world champion in the round of 16. INnoVation has done it. What a series, what a player.
And that does it from us here. Let's go over to Susie with INnoVation.
All right, guys, here I am with another winner for today. Give it up for INnoVation. Now, I see that you're sighing. Last week, you played with Life and in the GSL, and you lost 3-2. Today, you kind of got a revenge, didn't you? You were able to win this. Did it feel really good? Which game was harder? 저번 주에 GSL을 했었을 때 3대2로 졌는데 이번에 왔더니 약간 복수인 느낌이었는지.
네, GSL에서 졌던 게 좀 많이 아쉬웠는데 오늘도 지면 너무 압도적으로 지는 느낌일 것 같아서 꼭 이겨야 된다고 생각하고 왔어요.
Yeah, he said definitely. After when he lost that last week, he was just like, oh man, you know. And then when he came here, he goes, I can't lose this one. Absolutely not. And so here he is, and okay. Well, next you're going to be playing against Zest. 성욱 선수랑 이제 다음에 만날 건데 그 선수에 대해서 어떻게 생각을 하는지. How do you feel about playing against him?
잘하는 선수라고 생각하고 또 팀의 에이스이기 때문에 방심하면 안 될 것 같아요.
All right, he says, well, obviously Zest is a very good player, and he's also KT's ace, so, you know, he obviously can't rule that out, and he's really going to have to prepare. Okay, he is KT, and you're SKT, and there's always this rivalry between KT and SKT, right? So, when you go there, and if you beat Zest, will that be very good for you? 약간 경쟁 같은 느낌인데 KT랑 SKT랑 제스트 선수도 이길 수 있으면은 꺾을 수 있으면 무슨 느낌일 건지.
팀의 라이벌 구도가 심하다고 들어가지고 제가 KT 선수를 둘이나 꺾으면 팀도 좋고 저도 좋을 것 같아요.
Okay, he says, my team is letting me know always that, you know, we have this strong rivalry. So if he's able to knock out 2 KT members, it's going to be good for the team and also good for him. So, you know what? Good luck for you as we go on with the tournament. And I'm going to throw it back to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Susie. What an incredible series to close out the day. INnoVation versus Life, in my opinion, lived up to the billing of those Clash of Titans. Unbelievable ending to the series where, once again, we were flabbergasted by how the series was tugging back and forth, especially in game number 5. So let's start once again from the beginning there. In game number 1, it seemed like INnoVation was going to stick to some of the guns that we saw throughout the rest of the series. The Hellbat pushes back and forth, catching Life off guard. And then from that point on, kept imploding the series. So, Snoop, what do you think about what do you think of
The first game? Yeah. Hellbats, that's what I thought of the first game.
How did you feel about the strategy of INnoVation going into this series? Because it seemed like he was being able to catch Life off guard a couple times.
Yeah, I think it's a really smart way to open. You know, Zerg always wants to play a game that, you know, allows them to be in their comfort zone, and Overgrowth being the perfect macro map. I think INnoVation just chose a really good way to open up the series with such an aggressive play.
And
I mean,
then
look at how much it threw him off, too. I mean, even in Game 5, when he held off that timing attack, he built as many as 4 evolution chambers. He canceled 2 of them, but even in canceling it, that ended up being a mistake because he lost one to a Banshee.
Yeah.
He made 2 Baneling nests.
And they started the lair as well, and at the same time dropping 4 spores. So I feel like Life was really stressed by INnoVation's attacks.
He was flabbergasted, to use a word of a great man, Frodan.
Thank you very much. I actually wrote that down in my pocketbook to use for this cast. SAT word of the day.
I like it.
Going into game number 2 and 3, though, even though we saw a pretty early lead from INnoVation, it felt like it was more of the traditional ZVT, a lot of that pushing back and forth there. And it felt like many times Life was able to win engagements that we really didn't think he should have been able to. What do you think were some of the keys to that factor, Roddy?
Often just Widow Mines, man. It's like a never-ending story in this matchup. Mines are all either amazing or they're kind of tricky, and I felt like multiple times they did more friendly fire than they did opponent fire.
Well, I think they're always amazing just for different players. Right?
It's always terrible damage. We just don't know on which side. But I really think that's what it comes to. Life, obviously, very smart play. We'll always try to play around with the AI. We'll always try to send our Zerglings or go for certain splits. Snood, you mentioned it off the cast. It's risky what he does. Like, you're playing with fire. Either it looks amazing or it backfires. And suddenly you lose a bunch of beta. I think that's why it was so back and forth. But obviously just, you know, great positioning, great engagements from both players. And, you know, they're dancing with each other. And sometimes you win and sometimes you lose.
Well, yeah, I mean, none more impressive than game 2, winning on Catalina against Terrnan, like INnoVation.
Impressive.
Like, absolutely super impressive. And then going into game number 4, Inferno Pools, that was the first time we saw this tournament, maybe the only time we'll see it, depending on how the veto goes from this point on. How did you feel like Life played that from there? So you're saying like that was just like a perfect game from Life's perspective.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when you get cross positions, once again, INnoVation didn't opt in for this Hellbat attack that, you know, gave him so much success on the other maps. And Life was just able to capitalize on the positions, go up to that 85 drone count that every Zerg wants. And he got into his 8 gas Muta comfort zone, and the count just kept climbing. He got his hive, he even got the gold base in the middle, and INnoVation just couldn't keep up. So.
Is Hellbats like kind of the pseudo-modern proxy 2 racks in the sense that it feels like it's almost always a good idea? I have seen it get put down really hard, but when I see the super top-notch INnoVation, TvZ, and some of these other Terrans do it, I almost never see it. It doesn't feel like a bad idea ever. Is that the case, or is that just this series misleading in that way?
It could be the series. A lot of the time, Zergs also opt in for more safe builds, or sometimes even aggressive builds, such as Roach play. We saw that used a lot in the GSL, I believe. We saw some Nidus Worms going up here and there. And if you open up with a Hellbat attack against such a tricky build, then you just straight up lose.
What I like about INnoVation's play of this, though, is that he would go Banshee. So I feel like if you did do heavy Roach, he would just keep the Banshees coming out, which we've seen as well. But then, of course, we've also seen Nidus Roach, which is a hard counter to that. So I feel like it just looks like it's always good. Like, even if they hold it off like he did in Game 5, they spend so much doing it that they're thrown off otherwise. And then there's the damage from the opening.
Yeah, I really like how INnoVation, you know, he either went for Hellbats or he went super greedy, but also mixing in some Banshees. I just feel like he had a really good selection of builds.
Yeah.
And it's impossible as a Zerg player to go up against INnoVation and actually counter him in a way that makes a whole lot of sense. You don't know if there's a Hellbat push coming or if he's playing super greedy.
Yeah.
And, well, you just gotta scout and be a little bit paranoid sometimes. And if you don't get the information that you want, and even if you get the information, you can be a little bit paranoid, as we saw in the last game.
Yeah,
He saw everything, but still had to be super scared.
His macro is terrifying too. Like you know, I think back to some of these WCS runs from like Bomber, where literally on creep, he splits so well that he's able to kite against banelings. I don't feel like INnoVation has that. Obviously, it's phenomenal micro, but every time he would take like a banned baneling, we'd be like, oh no, and then you'd look back and there's a larger force coming down the pipe. It was really impressive and kind of terrifying. I've very rarely seen Life get out macroed by that parade style so many different times.
It's just impressive considering that, you know, there's also room for improvement. I mean, Kevin, you were saying that INnoVation sometimes a little bit careless with his medevacs. And there's some moments where like he could have optimized a little bit more, but just considering the stress levels of how Life was testing him, trying to harass whenever he could. In fact, that actually transitions into how Game 5 you were talking about it, Jeff. We have a clip from where we want to analyze it. So Kev, why don't you walk us through some of the moments that you were watching in game number 5 as we pull up the clip?
I actually think maybe Snoot should talk us through here, because Snoot will probably have more knowledge.
Sure.
Oddly enough, Snoot thinks Jeff should do it. So go ahead.
Yeah, so this is the massive parade push here coming down towards Life's 4th. And as Apollo said in the cast, if this 4th base goes down, everything is over. So what Life is trying to do right now is simply bait out the Widowmine shots. And,
Which went so well before, like a minute before this, when INnoVation tried to do the same.
He had this wonderful engagement. And as you can see, Life's always trying to keep this to the left-hand side, because that's where it's easy to catch these Marines. He doesn't want to fight the massive force on the right. And so far, Life is doing a pretty good job, but at some point in this engagement, everything just goes wrong.
The Tor, man, he picks up the Tor and he keeps microing the Tor.
Oh yeah.
What a game changer the Thor was, though, because notice
many
in this fight,
banelings.
he only has like
banelings.
4 Widowmines, maybe?
And
whereas in the
Marauder.
past he had like 10, but the Widowmines were traitor Widowmines more often than not. They were working for Life, and here he's like, you know what? No Widowmines, just a Thor.
And the biggest problem for Life here was that he used all of his banelings, and at that point, Terran doesn't have to be afraid anymore. And INnoVation, this scan was not a random scan. It was not a scan to clear creep. Probably not to check for burrowed banes either. It was to see, do you have any more banelings in reserve? The answer was no. So he just proceeded straight forward to kill the 4th. And from there, Life couldn't really keep up in economy. He lost so much of his army as well. No Zerglings to back up the muters, no banelings to protect, you know, any of these bases, and INnoVation just confidently moving forward, dropping the Mulehammer.
I also think a small difference between this push and the push before, when I think we all agreed upon the desk that it already looked very good for INnoVation. It was going to be really hard for Life to keep that 4th base alive, just like Apollo was saying during his cast. But I think the second time, let's not forget that INnoVation lost his natural, and of course lost a bunch of SUVs as well, and then he maxed out again. So this time the max out was even more powerful and stronger than before, and it was less mines that actually, you know, didn't do any friendly fire. So it was just a slightly better setup for INnoVation, and like you said, Life being a little bit careless with his banelings. But you know, so much happened in game number 5. We can talk about those 4 Evo chambers and losing one of them. We can talk about that double drop in the natural, which actually allowed him to pick up one of the Evo chambers. Like Carapace was 70-80% done, and then it got picked off. Like you as a Zerg player, like how frustrating is that?
That feels so bad.
Me as a Protoss player, it's super frustrating to watch.
Happens all the time, especially in that matchup for sure. Well, you know, that's going to be it for the day's matches. INnoVation moves on to the round of 8, where he'll play against Zest. You heard some of his words, which reminds us, by the way, that if you guys want to see additional content and interviews, you can check out the Score Esports apps on your smartphones or your iPads, and make sure to download that so that way you can get full coverage of the Intel Extreme Masters. And while we're on the subject, why don't we bring up the brackets for today and see where we checked in for the round of 16. We're only halfway done. And tomorrow we have 4 more matches.
And while we're looking at the bracket, I want to give credit where credit's due. We were giving Rotterdam a lot of crap for getting the first couple ones wrong. This kid named the maps and the results for the final 2. That's
right.
Pretty impressive.
So in the end of the day, I finished 2-2, and you guys finished 1-3. Not inclling you, Dan. But
I finished 1-0. I don't know about you guys.
He did. He only made one prediction.
Anyway, let's talk about the bracket, because
No, it's not. The time has passed, Rotterdam.
Well, we started off the day with Fantasy versus Rain. Fantasy was able to take that surprisingly 3-0 over Rain, followed by Dark versus Team Liquid's Tasia. Another match where we were unsure about how Tasia would fare, but then Dark, of course, he comes in as probably the best player in SK Telecom in recent memory, as a Zerg player was able to streak forward and win there. Then we went to Zest versus Hydra, where we had incredible comeback, or throw, depends on how you phrase it, where Hydra was up 2-0 and Zest made the 3-0 win from there. And of course, Life versus INnoVation, where once again, I think the series lived up to the hype. I'm pretty satisfied with today's StarCraft 2. I don't know about you guys. Did you have a favorite series?
I mean, this was definitely the 2 marquee players, and it went down to Game 5. And even in Game 5, it wasn't clear that INnoVation was going to win the entire time. Right up until Even the killing of the natural, we were all like, oh my god, he's going to do it. And then it was like 3 minutes later, actually INnoVation wins. So I think that's got to be the pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
I loved it today. I actually thought that perhaps the most memorable thing about today was the way that we saw Zest evolve in the series. You know, looking so scrappy and random in game 1, slightly better in game 2, but still being caught off guard. And then game number 3, 4, and 5, we saw glimpses. I'm not going to say it was full Zest 2014, but we saw glimpses of that old school, super solid Zest that is not going to get surprised and is not going to be easily breakable by, you know, a bunch of mutalisks flying into his natural or something like that. So I think that was the most memorable thing for me, but the final series definitely stood out in gameplay.
Yeah,
level.
that series was like a better version of Chappie, actually, watching Zest learn on the fly and being able to adapt to Hydra.
You just spoiled the movie.
Without the obnoxious characters that we don't emotionally care about. Yeah,
Thank you.
My God.
Well, we've had a lot of fun today, but tomorrow we're going to begin at the same exact time at 1 p.m. CET. And we have a schedule for the 4 matches coming up. We start off the day with Maru versus Patience. Pyong versus Solar, CJ Hero, we'll talk more about that movie later. CJ Hero versus Cure, and then Flash versus Trap. That match is going to be super interesting, of course, at 5:30 here at twitch.tv/ESL_SC2. In control, Rotterdam Snoot. It's been so fun, day number 1. Do you have any final words to wrap up the day here? Kev, you go first.
No, I think it was a very good game, number 1. And what is very exciting for thing tomorrow, Zest will go up against INnoVation, so that's like another KT versus SKT. Yeah. And in the final, if INnoVation would go that far, which I think a lot of people expect, he could potentially play Flash. So maybe INnoVation is just seeing this as Pro League, he's continuing his streak, and he's going to all kill KT.
What do you think, In Control?
I want to say that today has been really impressive too, for Todd to come from Heroes of the Storm to commentate StarCraft 2 like that, and to really just knock it out of the park. That was some stunning stuff. Like, because the game, it just, you're so casual and relaxed with just one character to micro. It's a lot like Warcraft 3, but to go to StarCraft 2 with all that action happening. Thank God Maynard was able to keep him on track. It's, I guess what I could say.
Well, I don't even know if Todd's even around to hear you, but I'm sure
he's
he'll go
probably
back
playing
into the
Heroes.
VOD. Actually, the Heroes booth is like right next to us over in StarCraft 2.
He might be, actually.
Snoot, do you have any final words?
I'm
before we can
speechless.
stop Jeff?
I think the games today were great, and tomorrow is going to be amazing as well. Lots of great matches to look forward to, and of course some Zerg matches as well. I look forward to that. So yeah, just it's been an amazing day of games. You can really tell, you know, it gets so exciting when you have players that are this close in skill. We saw a lot of close series as well, so I hope tomorrow is going to be as exciting.
Yep, tomorrow is going to be great, and of course we want to thank the people that all make this possible. Intel, BenQ, HyperX, Gigabyte, and Rock. Yeah, thank you so much. Of course, shout out to Blizzard. They're here supporting us, and I mean, we've had a pretty good set of games as well. Balance-wise, a lot of race distribution, making it through, but tomorrow promises to be even better. We're done here from the ESL crew here in Katowice, Poland. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in day 2, 1 p.m. CET tomorrow. Stay tuned for more action in the rebroadcast, and if not, we'll see you guys then. Have a good night.